On day 1, I spawned into a beautiful cherry blossom forest as a creeper. Oh wait, why does my stomach hurt? I guess I must be a hungry creeper, and a baby hungry creeper at that. Lucky for me, there seem to be lots of apples laying around the forest. That must be why there are so many capuchin monkeys hanging around. Would you guys mind sharing some of your apples with a hungry creeper like me? I'd really appreciate it. That's when I saw a big, scary SkeleKing striding towards me out of the trees, and he looked like he really meant business.
Not so fast, kid. These apples don't belong to these goofy little monkeys. They belong to me, SkeleKing of the overworld.
Oh, well, can I please have some apples, Your Highness? My name's Zozo, and I'm so hungry.
Sure, if you can pay up some emeralds, nothing in this world is for free, kid.
I don't have any emeralds.
Then we have nothing to say to each other. I'm sick of all you freeloaders thinking you can enjoy my food for nothing. Within 100 days, I'll make sure that nobody can get a single morsel without paying through the nose for it.
I'll never let you get away with that. It's not fair on all the hungry people who don't have emeralds.
Well, I guess I'll just have to destroy you then. Sorry, kid. Gotta make an example out of people sometimes.
The SkeleKing unleashed an energy blast. I ran away as fast as I could, but it was already too late for the monkeys and the apples. The blast took them all out. The blast also took me down to 2 hearts. I ran as fast as I could. I needed to defeat the SkeleKing within 100 days, or everyone would go hungry. On day 2, I reached the Sika Woods and stopped for a minute to catch my breath. I could still feel my stomach growling. I wish I'd been able to eat at least one of those apples. But while I was still catching my breath, I got ambushed by some armored skeletons, and something told me that they probably wouldn't have any food for me.
Hey, it's that freeloader the SkeleKing told us about, boys. We'll teach him to try scrumping our supreme ruler's produce. Attack!
The armored skeletons ran towards me, and all I could do was run away. It's not like I had a weapon, and even if I did, I probably would have been too hungry to fight. Eventually, I managed to lose them. Being in this world was already exhausting. And if I don't find a snack soon, I think I'm gonna pass out. That's when a cassowary approached me. From how slowly she walked over, it seemed like she was nervous.
You're not with the SkeleKing, are you?
Gosh, no! I was just running away from him and his minions. I'm Zozo. What's your name?
That's a relief. I'm Cassie the cassowary. You look hungry. Come with me. I know someone who can fix you up some free grub.
Thank you. That's the best news I've heard all day. On day 3, Cassie the cassowary took me to a cozy little cabin in the middle of Sika Woods. That's where I met the cabin's owner, a friendly straw golem named Stefan.
My word, you poor little creeper. You're all skin and bones. How about I give you some of this nice bread? It's fresh out of the oven.
Stefan gave me some tasty bread, and it helped fill up my hunger bar. A little bit anyway. Seems I really was a hungry creeper through and through. Thank you, Stefan. I really needed that. I don't understand why the SkeleKing doesn't just let people eat when they're hungry. He'd make a lot more friends that way.
Ah, Zozo. But you see, the SkeleKing doesn't care about friends. All he cares about are jewels and riches. As a skeleton, he doesn't even need food. He just hoards it for his own benefit.
That's awful. How can we stop him?
We can stop him by fighting back and making sure all the hungry are fed without having to give in to the SkeleKing's evil demands. Making a base would be a good start.
Good idea. Thank you again, Stefan. We said our goodbyes to Stefan, and then Cassie and I set off deeper into the Sika Woods. It was time to start building a base. From day 4 to day 5, we started the construction project. Of course, before we could do anything else, we needed tools. That's why I broke down a tree and made myself a wooden pickaxe, which is good for only one thing, mining enough stone to make myself a full set of stone gear, including a stone pickaxe and a stone sword. Finally, I can deal some damage and start building a cool base. I used my pickaxe to harvest more stone and used a stone axe to chop down some more trees, giving me more wood to build with and more space for the foundation of my base. Looks like I'm getting the hang of this. Using all the materials I gathered, I started building a pretty basic starter base with a room for me, a room for Cassie, and a common area to hang out together. When it was done, Cassie and I took a second to appreciate it together. It's not much, but it's a start.
I think it looks awesome, Zozo.
But as you can probably expect, all this building worked up a real hunger. I did some more exploring until I found myself some delicious carrots to eat.
What's up, Doc?
And as soon as I ate the carrots, something amazing happened. I leveled up, getting bigger, stronger, and getting 9 hearts. Looks like I power up by eating. That must be why I'm so hungry. From day 6 to day 8, I decided I needed a change of scenery and traveled out to the Mojave Desert to search for more food. Suddenly, some text appeared. It was my stomach. You have generated 1 gunpowder? Well, would you look at that? I now actually have 1 gunpowder in my inventory. I guess it makes sense. I am a creeper after all. I explored for a bit until I was surrounded with hot desert sand all around. Las Vegas should be around here somewhere, and I've heard they have amazing all-you-can-eat buffets. I'm sure my stomach would like that. But I never found Las Vegas or any buffets. Instead, I found a little goblin named Goblo running towards me in a panic.
Stranger, you have to help me. I'm being chased by a desert mummy.
Oh no, don't worry, Goblo. Zozo's the name, and helping people is my game. Stand back! I charged in, leaving Goblo behind, while I searched for the desert mummy. It didn't take long for me to find him. He was running around the desert, trying to find Goblo. Instead, he found me. Let's battle, mummy. You should at least be picking on someone my size. The desert mummy attacked. He was one tough cookie, but thankfully, with my stone sword, I was able to get the edge. He dropped a cookie. Well, don't mind if I do. When the desert mummy was defeated, I returned to Goblo.
Thank you, Zozo. You're a lifesaver.
No problem, Goblo. Why was that desert mummy chasing you in the first place?
Because I owed his boss, the skeleton jackal, some money. When he finds out you defeated the desert mummy, he'll probably just send another.
Then we better go have a chat with this skeleton jackal personally. And I'm gonna need to break for lunch. From day 9 to day 10, I followed Goblo into the Red Rock Mountains, where he told me the skeleton jackal was waiting. You hang back, Goblo. I'll take care of this guy myself, then come back.
Okay, Zozo. Here, take this slingshot. Maybe you can fling some stuff at the skeleton jackal. I wish you luck.
I kept going until I found the skeleton jackal waiting for me. If you're not gonna forgive Goblo's debt, then I guess we're gonna have to fight. I loaded my slingshot with gunpowder and flinged it at him. To my disappointment, nothing happened. Oh well, I guess a good old stone sword will have to do. I charged in with my stone sword, expecting this to be an easy fight, like my battle with the desert mummy. But I was so wrong. It seemed like my attacks were barely doing any damage to the skeleton jackal. He was just too fast and strong. And to make things worse, he started throwing his javelins at me. Ouch, that hurts. I needed to get out of there. So I just turned and ran. I ran until the skeleton jackal was out of sight, then made my way back to Goblo, feeling hungry and ashamed. I'm so sorry, Goblo. I don't think I'm strong enough to take on the skeleton jackal yet. How about you come to my base to lay low? We'll figure something out.
That sounds like a good idea, Zozo. Thank you for helping me.
From day 11 to day 12, I returned to my base with Goblo. Seeing as only Cassie and I had bedrooms at the moment, I needed to expand my base. I started adding a whole new room for Goblo to sleep in, connected to the common area. After building the room, I furnished it with a bed so Goblo could finally relax. How do you like your new room, Goblo?
It's amazing. Thank you, Zozo. I feel safe from the skeleton jackal and his goons here.
Great. Hopefully it'll keep us safe from the SkeleKing and his goons, too.
Oh no, the SkeleKing. He's like 100 times worse than the skeleton jackal. I've heard his troops have been going to anywhere that can produce and store food and trying to take it all over.
But why?
Almost everyone needs food, Zozo. So whoever controls the food controls the world.
Then we better start producing and storing our own food, just to be safe. With that idea in mind, I started adding a new room to the base, just for storage. Once I built the room, I installed a few chests so we could store as much as possible. I also started mining around my base, finding some iron ore deposits that I could later smelt into ingots. But I was still hungry, and I couldn't just eat iron. So I started adding another new feature to my base, a little chicken farm, filled with some chickens I found around the Sika Woods. The chickens would lay eggs and give me a steady supply of ingredients for cooking projects. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. From day 13 to day 15, I returned to my base and decided to have a much-needed chat with Cassie the cassowary. Cassie, I need your advice. How do you think I should go about getting strong enough to take on the SkeleKing?
Well, you told me that eating helps you grow and level up. Maybe you need to venture out further and try more exciting foods. The tropical rainforest might have what you're after.
That's an amazing idea, Cassie. I took her advice and traveled out to the tropical rainforest. The journey actually made me even hungrier, but lucky for me, I was able to find some sweet berries that reduced my hunger a little bit. But this was immediately followed by a sudden ambush from the Spider Queen.
Well, if it isn't Zozo, the hungry creeper. I expected you to be bigger.
I'm working on it.
It doesn't matter. The SkeleKing sent me to eliminate you. And believe me, no matter how hungry you are, I'm hungrier. The Spider Queen will eat you alive.
Without another word, the Spider Queen attacked me. It was a tough battle, but lucky for me, I was able to hold my own and turn the tables on the evil Spider Queen. When she was defeated, she dropped some cotton candy onto the ground. That is sweet! Get it? Because it's candy? Sorry, that is a bad joke. I ate the cotton candy and immediately felt myself growing again, just like Cassie had told me. I was bigger, stronger, and now I had 14 hearts. From day 16 to day 19, needing a break from all the dense woods and forests, I decided to take a stroll through the beautiful rose fields. While exploring, I got hungry and decided to eat some bread from Stefan the straw golem that I'd kept in my inventory. When you're going on a long journey, you should always bring snacks, especially when you're a hungry creeper. A little less hungry now, I continued my search through the rose fields until I found a mysterious old chest just sitting around in the middle of the field. Oh, I wonder what's inside. I took a peek and found a book titled Mysteries of the Weeping Witch Forest. Most of the pages were blank, but one of them had the words, "A man who once walked the Weeping Witch Forest with evil thoughts found his mind and body twisted, always desiring but never hungry, forever unsatisfied, a creature less than human." Wait, that sounds a lot like the SkeleKing. Does this mean he has something to do with the Weeping Witch Forest? Before I could finish my thought, a bunch of armored skeletons turned up, looking for a fight.
Look, we found the freeloader again. Let's destroy him for good this time. Maybe the SkeleKing will give us a raise.
The armored skeletons attacked me, but I wasn't a little baby hungry creeper anymore. With my new size, skills, and my stone sword, I was able to defeat every last one of them. Seems like all my hard work is paying off. Now I'm hungry again though, running out of food, fast. From day 20 to day 22, I continued through the rose fields. I found a few spiders along the way, but after defeating the Spider Queen, they were nothing. I think I've earned myself some upgraded equipment after all this. I continued mining into the ground until I found some more iron ore. I then built myself a little furnace out in the field to smelt the ore into ingots, then turned the ingots into a full set of iron gear. First and foremost, an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. I think I'm finally strong enough to settle an old score now. With Goblo's debts in mind and my hunger nagging at me again, I made my journey back to the Red Rock Mountains, where the skeleton jackal was once again waiting for me. Ready for a rematch, friendo? The skeleton jackal attacked, but this time I was a lot bigger, stronger, and faster than before, and I had way better weapons. It didn't take me long to defeat the monster, and in doing so, clear all of Goblo's debts. It feels good to help. Now if only it made me less hungry. While I was feeling sorry for myself, the SkeleKing himself suddenly appeared, walking right up to me. With him there, I certainly didn't feel as confident as I did before.
Been enjoying all the free snacks, you sad little mooch? You've been eating on borrowed time, Zozo. You owe me, and I always collect on what I'm owed.
I don't understand you, SkeleKing. I read that you were a person once, before you lost your humanity. Why do you want all this money if you don't even need to buy food with it?
To need is weak, and to want is powerful, Zozo. What you have is hunger. It's a sign of your low status. What I have is ambition. Perhaps someday you'll understand that, but I don't expect you to live that long. Mark my words, your days are numbered.
And with that, the SkeleKing disappeared, and I was alone in the Red Rock Mountains with a grumbling stomach once again. From day 23 to day 26, I tried to ignore my grumbling stomach as I returned to my base. I really wanted a snack, but first I had to give Goblo the good news. I found him chilling at the fireplace. Hey, Goblo, guess what?
What is it, Zozo?
I took care of that skeleton jackal, so he won't be sending his goons after you anymore.
That's amazing! Thank you so much for your help!
No problem. Now we don't have to worry about any more of those creeps coming after you. Next, I decided to gather materials that would help me improve my base. Also, I wanted to see if I could rustle up another snack. Some stone blocks. I can use these to build a stone wall around the base and keep the bad guys out. I gathered the stone, as well as some coal which I unearthed, and got to work building a wall around my base. That looks great! Super secure. But I want to make sure I can see what's going on out here while I'm inside. I know, I'll add some windows. After carrying all that stone, putting in a few windows was a snap. Phew, that really made me work up an appetite. I wandered out into the woods to see what I could find, and suddenly I spotted a tree filled with what I like to call yellow gold, bananas. This is the best day I've had so far. I picked up as many bananas as I could find and made sure to eat a few to help fill up my rumbling stomach. After that, I could think much more clearly. As much as I wanted to eat all the bananas, I realized I could use some of them to help upgrade one of my weapons. I know, I'll fuse these with my sword and make a banana sword. No, a banana katana. Hey, that's pretty good. Maybe once the SkeleKing is defeated, I'll get into comedy. It tastes delicious. I just gotta make sure I don't cut my tongue while eating my katana. From day 27 to day 31, I was getting restless hanging around the base. Having no more bananas to eat, it was time to head out and explore a new area to see what snacks I could find. My journey took me all the way out to the ice spikes. I wish I'd worn a coat, but I've got my sense of adventure to keep me warm. Plus, it was pretty hard to focus on being cold when I was so hungry. As I was walking, I came across some diamonds. Whoa, I can't believe these are out here. I'll grab them and take them home with me. Then, I saw something amongst the ice and the bushes and rushed toward it. Maybe it's something I can eat. But as I got closer, I realized it was just a mungus. Oh, sorry to bother you.
No bother at all. I was hoping someone would come along to help me. I took a stroll away from my home in the mushroom fields, and I'm afraid I'm hopelessly lost and getting colder by the second.
Well, you can warm up at my base if you want. Follow me there.
Oh, thank you. Please take these cookies as a token of my thanks.
Sweet.
Yes, exactly.
I showed the mungus the way back to my base, but we were both still shivering from the cold. We need a bigger fireplace. I quickly upgraded our existing one, and before long we were warming ourselves up by the fire and munching on cookies. This is the good life. Just then, Cassie the cassowary approached us.
Zozo, I need your help! It's Stefan! He's in trouble! We have to go now!
From day 32 to day 35, Cassie and I headed to Stefan's cabin in the Sika Woods to see what was going down. Cassie sounded pretty upset, so I knew it was probably pretty bad. When we arrived, I saw why Cassie was so freaked out. The place was swarming with armored skeletons.
Zozo, thank goodness you're here. These brutes have been tearing my cabin apart.
Don't worry, we'll stop them. I drew my banana katana. I've got my banana katana, so you guys better split. I didn't have time to laugh at my super funny joke. I had to get to work fighting these guys off.
There's so many of them! What do we do?
We do our best. One of the armored skeletons came at me, but I managed to get in a good hit with my weapon before he could get me. We were so caught up in the fight, we didn't notice the two skeletons that knocked Stefan to the ground. Oh no! I tried to help him, but it was too late. Stefan was gone. You'll pay for this! My anger gave me the strength I needed to finish the fight, and with Cassie offering moral support, we defeated the rest of the armored skeletons. I sadly approached the remains of the straw golem. This is all my fault. I bet these guys were working for the SkeleKing.
It's not your fault, Zozo. It's the bad guys who should be blamed.
You're right, Cassie. I need to focus on what matters, stopping the SkeleKing from taking everyone's food. Speaking of food, I'm getting hungry again. I explored the golem's house for some food, but instead found a crafting table with items placed on top. Of course, it's the crafting recipe for TNT. I bet shooting TNT with my slingshot will work way better than shooting with gunpowder. From day 36 to day 39, I set off in search of something else to eat. Cassie and I split up so we could cover more ground. I also needed to keep looking for additional ways to defeat the SkeleKing, but I was pretty sure I could do both at the same time. I couldn't help it. I was just a very hungry creeper. Cassie told me she heard there was food in the Badlands, so that was where I decided to go. but I didn't see any snacks anywhere. Just rocks, sand, cacti, and other non-food plants. Oh man, nothing to eat here. As I was talking to myself, a coyote came up to me. He told me that he needed help finding aloe vera to treat his sunburns. He had spent too much time in the sun without applying sunscreen, and now he had sunburns all over his skin. Sure, I'll help you. Maybe if I found it quick enough, he'd give me a snack in return. No, I shouldn't think that. You shouldn't do good deeds just in case someone gives you a gift. You should do them just because it's good to be kind and help others. I spotted the aloe plant, but when I ran over to pick it up, someone jumped out from behind a rock.
I am the Desert Lord!
Dessert Lord? What kind of desserts do you have?
Not dessert, you fool! Desert! This is my domain, and everything in it belongs to me, including that aloe plant. Begone!
No can do, buddy. That aloe is required by someone else.
Then you must duel me for it.
Works for me. I ran toward the Desert Lord and fought him with my banana katana. The duel didn't take very long because my katana broke. What was I thinking? It's made from bananas. Of course the durability is non-existent. I used my axe instead, before he fell down and gave up. Then I grabbed the Zimbabwe aloe saplings and took them back to the coyote. He didn't have any snacks for me, but that was okay. It was still nice to help out. Before I left the Badlands, I made sure to stock up on some sand so I can craft more TNT when I get home. From day 40 to day 43, I returned to my base to check things out. This place is missing something. I know, we need some banners and some bookcases. I quickly got to work adding them. When I was done, I took a look at my new and improved base. Much better. That's when Goblo approached me.
Zozo, could I ask for a favor?
Sure thing, Goblo. What's up?
I'm pretty lonely here without any other goblins. Think I could invite some of my gob friends to stay with us for a while?
Sure, let me just make them some rooms. I added some extra rooms to the base so Goblo's buddies would have somewhere to stay. It was starting to look like a hotel. All done, go ahead and invite your friends. While Goblo and the Gobs settled in, I crafted as much TNT as I could. I have enough gunpowder for only 3? Come on, Stomach, you can do better than that. Start making more gunpowder. At least I could craft myself a diamond sword to replace the good old banana katana. My thoughts turned to food again, but my thoughts were interrupted by one of my latest guests, the Mungus, coming over to me with a quest.
Hey, Zozo, I have a quest for you.
Sure, what is it?
I need you to go to the underground mine for me. There is an Anubis there who has been terrorizing my family and keeping them from mining there.
I don't like bullies. You've got it, Mungus. I'll make sure he leaves your family alone. From day 44 to day 49, I traveled to the location of the underground mine to look for that Anubis who was giving Mungus so much trouble. I spotted a crane in the distance. This must be it. It was an entire mining site. I headed down into the mine and started to look around. I have to admit, I was also kind of hoping I'd find something to eat too, but the chests there were filled with rubbish. Mostly I was focused on my quest, but I'll never turn down a snack. I ventured deeper, but I didn't see Anubis anywhere. But what I did see was the SkeleKing lurking in the mine.
Hey, you've gotten bigger since I last saw you. What did I tell you before, Zozo? No more free snacks. This is the end of that line, kid. You're toast, and you'll never eat toast again without paying me for it first.
You're terrible. You let your greed consume everything you do, and then you act like we're all greedy for wanting the smallest things. It's not fair.
Life isn't fair. You're either a winner or a loser. Get used to it. And speaking of losing, get ready to lose a fight with one of my best minions. Ha 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 ha!
He let out an evil laugh, then ran out of the mine, leaving a terrifying ghost miner behind. I had to be brave, even if I was scared. Whatever, I ain't afraid of no ghost. But when he rushed at me, I could tell he was really strong, and this wasn't going to be an easy fight. From day 50 to day 53, I worked hard to bust the ghost miner and get out of the underground mine alive. I was a little bit worried because I couldn't damage him. My punches went straight through him. And his pickaxe did loads of damage. But it dawned on me, I should blast him away with my TNT. I loaded up my slingshot and kaboom! The ghost was literally blown away. Haha! I managed to win after all! As I was looking around the mine after the fight, I saw a chest in the distance. I checked inside. A golden apple! Can I eat this? Only one way to find out. Turns out, I could eat it. And not only was it tasty and gave me some nice buffs, but it gave me some secret knowledge. Suddenly, I knew something else about the SkeleKing. So he's hiding all the food he takes in chests at his base. If only I knew where his base was, I could return all the food to the people that need it. That's great! Now I just have to find out where he's hiding and get big and strong enough to stand a chance in a fight with him too. From day 54 to day 57, I climbed deeper into the mine. I couldn't go back to my base until I found that Anubis. After all, I gave Mungus my word that I would complete his quest. Well, all of a sudden, it looked like I would still get the chance because a great big tough Anubis came bolting out at me. Ah, bad dog, bad dog! He knocked into me and it hurt, but I was still alive and I was still strong enough to fight back. I ran back at him and managed to defeat him, even though he was bigger and badder than me. Oh hey, he dropped something. Suspicious stew. Awesome! I didn't care how suspicious it was. I was starving. I slurped it up and felt myself grow bigger and stronger with 18 hearts now. With my quest complete, I headed back to the base to give Mungus the good news.
Thank you so much, Zozo. I have some good news of my own. I heard a rumor that the SkeleKing's base is in the Weeping Witch Forest. When you feel strong and ready enough, you should be able to find him there.
From day 58 to day 62, I was thinking about food again. I wish I had some more eggs, then we could make all kinds of snacks here at the base. Wait a second, if we had some more chickens, we could have more eggs. I went out and found some chickens, then herded them back to the base and put them in the coop with the others. Make friends, little chickens. Then I decided to see if I could upgrade my gear. I went down into the mine and found some more diamonds. Perfect! I used the diamonds to craft a shiny new pair of diamond boots and pants. I feel tougher already. From day 63 to day 66, I tried to come up with a plan for what to do next. I wasn't ready to try and take on the SkeleKing on his own turf. I needed to get stronger first. Then Goblo came to me with an idea.
Say, Zozo, are you still hungry?
I'm always hungry.
Well, I heard there's some yummy fish to be found in the bayou. Might be a good idea to check it out and see if you can find some.
That's a great idea. Thanks to Goblo's tip, I left my base and traveled to the bayou. I was wandering around when an ogre came stomping up to me. I was pretty nervous and got ready for a fight, but he gave me a friendly growl instead.
Hi, sorry to bother you, but I could use a little help. You see, there are a bunch of gnarly swamp spiders infesting my house and trying to bite me every time I go inside. Could you get rid of them for me?
Sure, after the kind of enemies I've fought lately, I can definitely squash a few spiders. From day 67 to day 70, I followed the ogre to his house, and sure enough, it was crawling with swamp spiders! Yikes, I get why you asked for help. These weren't any ordinary spiders, they were meaner and much more dangerous. But I'd already fought the Spider Queen, so I knew I could take them. It didn't take long before I defeated every single one of those spiders.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without your help.
All done. Your house should be safe now.
Yeah, take this as a thank you.
He handed me some raw salmon. Hey, it's true, there really is fish here. I gobbled up the salmon and it really hit the spot. Yes. We said our goodbyes and the ogre went back to cleaning up and living in his house. From day 71 to day 74, I took a walk through the Black Forest on my way back to my base. As I was looking around, I found a note on the ground. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more adventures like this one, and be sure to search Zozo to find more awesome videos. After looking at the note, I went back to hunting for something else to eat. I've heard people talk about Black Forest cake before. Maybe I can find some of that here if I'm lucky. But I didn't find any cake. All I found was the SkeleKing lying in wait for me.
There's no more cake left in this forest, Zozo, but I'll give you a slice if you bring me some diamonds first.
Never!
Then perish.
He started throwing bone blocks at me. I tried to dodge them, but a few got me anyway. Ouch! That really hurt! He's still a lot stronger than me. I don't want to run away, but I'd better get out of here if I want to survive. so I ran out of there as fast as I could before he could do any more damage. Next time I see him, I'll make sure I'm ready! From day 75 to day 78, I ran all the way back to my base. Thankfully, the SkeleKing wasn't able to follow me there. I need to do something to take my mind off of that disaster. I looked around and my eyes settled on the garden. Some flowers would make me feel better. So I planted some flowers in the garden and it really cheered me up. Look at all those beautiful flowers. As I was finishing up with the garden, one of the gobs that Goblo invited to the base came over. He thanked me for giving him and the others a place to stay and handed me a steaming hot bowl of mushroom stew as a thank you gift. Yum, this smells great! I quickly ate the stew and grew larger, gaining 4 more hearts. Wow, I feel so much stronger now. Thanks, Gob. That's a pretty powerful stew. From day 79 to day 84, I headed to the apple orchard to gather some fruit and look for some mobs I could test out my new strength on. I found plenty of both. There were a lot of apples, and there was also the Golden Devourer. They were hungry little guys trying to eat all the apples for themselves. Leave some for the rest of us. I taught them a lesson and beat them quickly. I really am stronger. A giant came up to me and told me he saw what I did. He'd been trying to clear those pests out of the apple orchard for days now, and now he and the other people living nearby could finally get some of the apples. I helped him pick some to take back home, and he gave me a piece of mutton in return. I ate the mutton and it tasted great and helped me grow even stronger. From day 85 to day 89, I took a leisurely walk back to my base. But when I got there, I was shocked at what I found. There was a big, nasty sectoid queen attacking my base and scaring all of my friends. Hey, you get out of here! But before I could attack, the sectoid queen scuttled off into the woods. Oh, no you don't! I ran after her, but I lost track of her. I saw a bull looking around and thought maybe he could help me. Have you seen a sectoid queen?
Yes! If I tell you where she went, will you help me get my cat out of that tree?
Sure. Here, kitty kitty. I don't know why, but the cat listened to me and climbed down out of the tree. I guess it could tell I just wanted to help.
Thank you! She went that way!
He pointed me in the right direction, and I headed off to track down the sectoid queen. From day 90 to day 94, I found the sectoid queen deep in the Sika woods. There you are! Why were you attacking my base?
Just following orders from the SkeleKing. He sent me after a little newt who's been hoarding snacks without paying for them. When I couldn't find you, I decided to tear apart your house to teach you a lesson.
You shouldn't have done that. Now, I'll teach you a lesson.
You can try.
I attacked with my sword, but it was a much harder fight than I expected. Uh-oh, she's really strong. This isn't gonna be easy. The queen seemed to back off and started digging a tunnel into the mountain. I was hurting, so I didn't follow her immediately. Instead, I gathered some berries to replenish my hunger and health before continuing the fight. From day 95 to day 97, I went into the tunnel which led to a dripstone cave where the queen was waiting. I charged her and kept on fighting the sectoid queen. She started spawning regular-sized ants around her. Sure, they were small, but they still bite. I was getting pretty tired, and I was worried I might not make it out of this one.
Might as well give up now. You'll never be a match for the SkeleKing.
That taunt gave me the inspiration I needed to finish up the fight. That is it. No more playing around. Taste the power of TNT. I shot a TNT charge up into the dripstone, and it fell right on the sectoid queen. She was done for. Wow, that was a tough one. I saw that the sectoid queen had dropped a throwing axe, and I picked it up. Wow, this is a great weapon. It'll help me a lot. There was an inscription on the handle reading, "Property of the SkeleKing." I guess this used to be his throwing axe. Well, he took a lot of things from people who need them, and then he was careless with his own weapon? Finders keepers, I guess. I'll use this to defeat him once and for all. Before I left, I made sure to mine up all the diamonds that were in this cave. This will be just enough diamonds to finish my diamond armor set. On day 98, I took my new throwing axe back home to my base, and to my surprise, my friends fixed up the house back to the way it was before. I started preparing for the final battle. First, I made the rest of my diamond armor. There, now I am well protected. Next, I crafted as much TNT as I could. Thank you, stomach. This gunpowder will be used for good. Now I finally felt ready to take on the SkeleKing and return the food to the hungry masses. But first, Cassie approached me.
Zozo, I'm glad I caught you. I brought you this pineapple to help you get your strength up before your battle.
I ate the pie and changed my form into a mutant creeper. Now I look really mighty. I gained even more hearts, up to 40 now. What was in that pineapple?
I don't know, but now you can definitely defeat the SkeleKing.
Then came Goblo.
Yeah, thank you for saving my life, Zozo. You've done so much to help so many people, and I just know you'll be the one to free us from the SkeleKing.
Thank you, that means a lot. Of course, the Mungus had something to say.
Zozo, I may just be a simple mungus from mushroom fields, but I think you're a really fun guy.
Thanks! And even the other gobs wanted to encourage me.
Since you liked it so much before, here's some more mushroom stew. Eat up before you leave.
I stored the stew for later, and I felt prepared to head out and take back what was rightfully ours. On day 99, I started on my trek to the Weeping Witch Forest, where the SkeleKing's base was. At first, I wasn't sure where exactly his lair might be, but a bubble parasite pointed me in the right direction.
You can do it, Zozo.
Thanks, pal. When I arrived at the base, I saw an armored pillager guarding the entrance. How am I gonna get past him? For a second, I thought my plans were doomed, until the ogre came running out of the woods.
Let me handle him. You take on the SkeleKing.
Ogre, you're here!
You didn't think I'd leave you without any backup, did ya? I can handle the zombie. You head on inside.
On day 100, I ran straight into the SkeleKing's base. With no more minions to protect him, he would have to fight me himself, one-on-one. Come on out and face me. It's time for you to be the one who pays. He emerged from his lair at the sound of my taunts.
I'm not paying for a thing. You don't know what you're messing with, little creeper.
I'm not so little anymore.
No, I guess not. You've gotten strong on stolen snacks. Snacks you should have given me emeralds in exchange for.
You can't make people pay you for food. It belongs to everyone.
Enough talk. I've had enough of your chatter. I'll shut you up once and for all.
You know what? I'm still hungry, and there's only one thing that would hit the spot right now. Justice. And with that, I sprang into action and charged at the SkeleKing, dealing him a powerful blow. But he was not taking any damage. He had some sort of purple magic protecting him. That's when I noticed purple crystals in the watchtowers. That must be what is protecting him. Just like when you fight the Ender Dragon, I needed to get closer to them. I managed to sprint into his house. I searched for a lever to deactivate the towers, but saw nothing, just his bed and his throne. He did have TNT on display. That is it. Who needs a lever? I can just shoot TNT at the crystals. I had no time to waste. The SkeleKing came into the house and landed some good hits on me. I ran to the first tower and launched TNT right into the crystal. The SkeleKing didn't seem to like that explosion. I ran to the next tower while SkeleKing chased me. Soon the second tower was also down. Just one more. The SkeleKing almost caught up to me, but he was too late. I successfully destroyed all the crystals and his magical protection had disappeared. He stepped back, injured.
No, you're weak. You're tiny. I own you. I own everyone. Everything.
Maybe you did own everything, but I'm here to take it all back. I threw my throwing axe as hard as I could, and it hit, knocking him out. And that was that. The SkeleKing had been dethroned. Time to take all of this food and get it back to the people who need it. In that moment, I didn't feel hungry anymore, and I knew that as long as I had anything to say about it, no one in the world would ever go hungry again. On day 1, I spawned in as a Pokemon Creeper. Creeper. Oh, thank goodness. I was worried for a second I'd only be able to say my own name. That takes some of the sting off being a baby with 5 hearts. I checked my inventory and found that I had a Pokedex guidebook. This would help me recognize all the other Pokemon I encountered. I looked at my surroundings. I was in some kind of forest. Not quite the Kanto region, but I could still explore. Further into the forest, among some tall grass, I discovered some more creeper Pokemon, just like me.
Creeper.
Oh, I guess you guys aren't so talkative. That's fine. I'm sure I can find a trainer who will talk to me. But instead of a friendly Pokemon trainer, instead, a really scary bug-type Pokemon called a Deathworm popped out of the ground. Let's get out of here, guys!
Creeper, creeper.
We scattered off into the forest to avoid the death worm. I hid out behind some trees for the rest of the night. On day 2, I ventured out of my hiding spot, convinced that the death worm was gone. I hope I don't run into one of those again. Guess it isn't easy being a creeper Pokemon, but at least I wasn't alone in being a creeper Pokemon. While I was wandering around the Forgotten Forest, I found an evolved creeper Pokemon. Oh wow, is that what I'm gonna look like when I evolve? I couldn't be more excited.
Creeper, creeper.
Well, even if I'm a baby creeper Pokemon, at least I can talk. But I couldn't stand around for long. A deadly fire-type Pokemon, the cockatrice, came out of the trees and attacked. It breathed a jet of fire onto my new evolved creeper friend, destroying him in an instant. And if it could do that to an evolved creeper, I'd be in real trouble. I ran away as fast as I could. Later, I arrived in the lush red desert, far, far away from the cockatrice and the death worm. Here, I could maybe build myself a home. Let's get building. I found some trees and knocked them down, collecting enough wood to make myself a wooden pickaxe and a wooden sword. These are pretty useless, but I guess everyone has got to start somewhere. With my extra wood, I started building my own wooden base to give me shelter from the elements. It felt nice to finally sleep indoors for once. On day 3, I went out to the meadows, wondering if I could beat some more Pokemon who wanted to come stay at my base. Instead, I found something even cooler, a Pokemon trainer. I ran over to him, so excited to finally have someone I could talk to. Hey, I'm Zozo. I'm a creeper Pokemon. It's so cool to meet you. Oh wow, a Pokemon that can talk. You don't see that every day. I haven't seen a Pokemon trainer here yet either. Maybe we should team up. I'd love to, but I think I might need to become a more experienced Pokemon trainer before we can truly team up. But when I get there, I'll know where to find you. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was a start. I started to head back to my base and used my wooden pickaxe to dig up a bunch of stone, which I used to improve my base and build myself a stone sword and a stone pickaxe. Before the day was out, a Pokemon called a Zoglin attacked me, and I was able to easily defeat it with my stone sword. After I defeated it, it dropped some rare candy on the floor, and I quickly collected it. This candy will come in handy later. From day 4 to day 5, I woke up and felt ready to eat that delicious rare candy I'd collected from the Zoglin the previous night. It's been a long week. I think I've earned a little treat. The second I ate the rare candy, I felt myself evolving and getting stronger. I got bigger. I now had 30 hearts and a brand new attack to use on enemy Pokemon, Fire Breath. Whoa, it looks like I'm a fire-type Pokemon too! I spent the rest of the day in the Mojave Desert, which was even hotter than the one around my base. It was sandy everywhere, so I collected some sand blocks to use later. Then, I ran into a sandwich.
Hey there, little creeper Pokemon. I actually saw a few more of your kind not far from here. You should go see them.
So I did. I searched around until I found a little group of creeper Pokemon just like me. I was so happy.
Creeper, creeper.
Yeah, creeper. How about you guys come and stay at my base? Us creeper Pokemon should stick together for safety. We returned to my base in the lush red desert and found that a wither was waiting outside. This wasn't good. Stand back, guys. I'll deal with this. I ran in and used my new flame breath to destroy the wither. Being a fire-type Pokemon was a lot of fun. From day 6 to day 8, I met up with the Pokemon trainer again, and we went exploring together, searching for some food. And not long after finding some, we went into a nearby underground cavern to do a little bit of mining. It's super dark in here. Don't worry, trainer, I can light the way. I breathed a jet of fire and lit up our way, seeing some iron ore in the blocks beneath us. I grabbed my stone pickaxe and started mining until I collected some ore. We built a furnace in the underground cavern and used the ore to create an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. Now I'm stronger than I've ever been. With our new equipment in hand, we went to the oasis to relax and spent some time in the sun next to the nice cool water. But not everything was so peachy in the oasis. We were suddenly attacked by a giant monster known as the Hydra. Even with all my new equipment and my fire-breathing power, I couldn't hurt him at all. Get out of here, Zozo. I'll take care of him. You need to get to safety. So I did, because it was all I could do. My Pokemon trainer and the Hydra fought until, in the end, neither of them remained. No! I started heading back alone. I felt so terrible. I'd lost everything. But on the way back, I ran into a friendly Myrmex queen.
Hello, little creeper Pokemon.
Hey, sorry if I seem a little down right now. I just lost a friend of mine.
Goodness, you can talk? That's incredible. I didn't know creeper Pokemon could talk.
Me neither. I might be the only one.
Well, if you lost your friend, perhaps I'll come stay with you. You shouldn't be alone on a night like this.
I would love that, Mermex Queen. The Mermex Queen and I returned to my base, and I created a new room for her to stay in. It was nice to finally have someone to stay with me who could actually talk. From day 9 to day 10, I woke up to find someone waiting outside my base. It was a huge, scary-looking Dread Knight, and he was here for me. Who are you?
I'm your worst nightmare. I'm the strongest Pokemon gym leader in the overworld, and that Hydra you and your friend destroyed, that was one of my prized Pokemon.
It destroyed my friend, and it attacked us first, too. How could you blame us for what happened?
Don't pity yourself. Not yet. When I'm done with you, you're gonna have something to really pity. Mark my words, you sad little creeper Pokemon. I'm going to get you.
And then he was gone, leaving me confused and afraid, not knowing what would happen next. From day 11 to day 12, I was woken up by the Mermex Queen. She seemed incredibly excited to see me.
Zozo, I know that losing your friend was very hard for you, so I made you something that might help you process what happened. Come and see.
I came out and saw what the Mermex Queen had created, a memorial for the fallen Pokemon trainer, so we'd always be able to remember him. This is amazing, Mermex Queen. Thank you. Let's go traveling together. We went out to the orchard, where I hoped I might be able to find some food that would make me stronger. Instead, we just found an angry siren who didn't want to have our company. Being attacked while just going on a walk really gets me fired up. I breathed fire on the siren, defeating it, and the Mermex Queen and I continued searching for ways to get stronger. That's when we met a friendly troll, and I decided to ask him.
Wow, a talking Pokemon. That's exciting. If you want to get stronger, you can seek out Professor Oak. He's an expert when it comes to Pokemon, and I've heard he's got a clinic somewhere out in the meadows.
Professor Oak? Now that sounds like an idea. I'll need all the help I can get to be strong enough to defeat the Dread Knight. Want to come stay at my base in the meantime?
Sure, that sounds like fun.
We went back to my base with the troll, and I built a new room for him to stay in. I wasn't so lonely now. From day 13 to day 15, I went off into the meadows to seek out Professor Oak. If that Dread Knight guy really was after me, I needed to get evolved as quickly as possible. While traveling through the meadows, though, I got attacked by a terrifying Dragon-type Pokemon, the Lightning Dragon. There's no way I'm ready to face that thing. The Lightning Dragon was heading straight towards me. I tensed up and prepared to get destroyed, when suddenly a huge energy blast struck the side of the Lightning Dragon, defeating it and saving my life. When I turned and saw who fired the energy blast, it was just a tiny little pixie. I immediately ran over to thank her. You saved me there. I'm Zozo, and I'm so grateful for the help you gave me. If there's anything I can do, please let me know.
I'd always do whatever I can to help out a kind stranger. But sadly, I used up the last of my magical power to defeat that dragon. Do you think you could go and defeat the ghost-type Pokemon who's been haunting the meadow?
After the way you saved me there, it's really the least I could do. I traveled further into the meadow until I saw the spooky ghost type floating around. Thankfully, the undead hate fire, and with my fire-breathing power, I was soon able to defeat it. This ghost is toast. I then returned to the pixie to give her the good news and ask her if she knew anything about Professor Oak.
Thank you for the help, Zozo. Professor Oak is out of town on a research trip at the moment, but he'll be back in a week or so.
Thanks for the heads up. At least I was able to help here in the meantime. With that valuable info, I turned and started heading in the direction of my base. From day 16 to day 19, I returned to my base, only to find it was being attacked by a deadly Gorgon. I saw the friendly troll who told me about Professor Oak running at her, trying to defend the base. But it was hopeless. She destroyed him in one hit. No, Mr. Troll, you monster! I ran in to battle the Gorgon for what she'd done. I tried to hit her with my sword and my flame breath, but neither seemed to have an effect. She just laughed at me.
You sad little creeper Pokemon. Is that all you've got? Wow, the Dread Knight is wasting his time even sending me to destroy you. I've got better things to do. Later, loser.
With that, the Gorgon left, leaving me in the ruins of my base with another friend gone. At least I still had the Mermex Queen, and she came to comfort me.
Don't worry, Zozo. We'll get back at them. And in the meantime, we'll repair the base and build back better.
I took the time to extinguish the fire around my base. Then, I returned to the underground cavern, mining more materials so I could make myself some iron armor. I can't afford to be unprotected right now. By the time I got back to my base, I found something exciting. The Mermex Queen had invited over a bunch of Mermex workers. They'd not only built a whole barracks for them to all live in, they'd also built a watchtower for us to keep a lookout for any more of the Dread Knight's henchmen. I ran over to the Mermex Queen to thank her. This is amazing, Mermex Queen. It's starting to really look like a base here.
You know what would make it even more like a base? A super cool statue.
That's an excellent idea. And in fact, I know exactly what to build. From day 20 to day 22, I was wandering around the prairie, looking for new friends and potentially new upgrades and gear. Instead, I found an angry Dread Scuttler. I really don't want to deal with this today. I defeated the Dread Scuttler with my iron sword and proceeded to collect a bunch of blocks so that I could use to start building the statue. You'll never guess what it is. On my way back through the lush red desert to my base, I found a few sheep wandering around and decided to herd them back to my base. I built a paddock to house them all. This will be perfect for gathering wool for making banners. That's when the Mermex Queen came over to me with some good news.
Hey Zozo, I got started on your statue, and I think it's coming along nicely. But it's gonna need those new materials you gathered next.
I'll add them right away. I ran in and continued work on the statue, getting it just a little further along with the new materials I'd collected. Can you guess what it is yet? Let me know down in the comments. From day 23 to day 26, I returned to the meadow, hoping that this time I'd get a chance to speak with Professor Oak. He's gotta be back from his research trip by now. Just then, from out of the grass came an Enderman, a really dangerous Dark-type Pokemon. It swiped for me with its long arms, but I dodged and drew my sword. Prepare for battle! I used my Fire Breath attack to weaken the Enderman and finished it off with an Iron Sword strike. Before I could celebrate, 2 more Endermen jumped out and tried to pick up where the first one left off. I defeated them both with some difficulty. Not much later, I found a rare Ghost-type Pokemon known as a Ghast. Ghost types are weak against Dark types, so it must have been hiding from all the Endermen out here. Hey, Ghast, it would be safer if you came to live at my base. There are lots of friendly Bug-type Pokemon there now.
No thanks, Creeper Pokemon. Let's ghost hunt alone.
Then the Ghast vanished into thin air. I guess he was serious about being alone. I went back to searching, and soon I found a man in a lab coat standing in the meadow. Are you Professor Oak?
Why yes, I am the famous Professor Oak, world-renowned Pokemon expert. And who might you be?
I'm a creeper Pokemon, but I can talk. My friends call me Zozo.
Well, I've certainly met talking Pokemon before, but it's always an ultra-rare occurrence. Where's your trainer anyway?
That's the problem. I don't have one right now. I was hoping since you're a Pokemon expert, you could train me so I could become stronger.
I don't see why not. I've been meaning to do more research on creeper Pokemon regardless. Let's get started.
On day 27 to day 31, I trained with Professor Oak in order to increase the power of my moves in battle. I could definitely feel that my base stats were becoming stronger. You're not just an expert professor, you're an expert trainer.
My work is almost done here, Zozo. You'll be a fighting machine after you complete the last challenge of your hyper training.
If it means being strong enough to face the Dread Knight, I'll do whatever it takes.
Very good answer. Now I will present you with your challenge. You must defeat a Wild Ravager. It is a fighting-type Pokemon known for its merciless attacks. It will be a formidable foe, but if you're ready and you believe in your training, you should be able to win.
I won't let you down, Professor.
Here are some super potions that might help you recover your hearts in the battle.
Thanks! I went to where the Wild Ravager could be found and took on the Professor's challenge. Using everything I had learned so far on my journey, I battled the Ravager. It was a tough fight, and the Ravager's fighting moves were very strong. But I was strong now too, and I managed to hang in there and retaliate with some attacks of my own. I was down to low health, but I still managed to get the win. Good thing I had those super potions. From day 32 to day 35, I told Professor Oak that I had defeated the Ravager. He seemed very impressed with my progress.
Very good, Zozo. You are one powerful creeper Pokemon now.
Thanks, Professor. You really believed in me.
And you believed in yourself too. That's half the battle.
What's the other half, Professor?
Battle. Now take this league badge to prove that you've got what it takes to be a champ in the making.
All right! I decided to return home to base to tell the others the good news about my training. I had made it all the way back to the Mojave Desert when I saw the Ghast from earlier, and they were in trouble.
Help! Help! A naval gym leader is trying to capture me!
Evil gym leader? That sounds like… Oh no, it is! The Dread Knight was here! I didn't expect that I'd run into him so soon!
Stop running away, Ghast! I'm trying to add you to my Pokemon team! A spooky ghost type would make an excellent addition!
The Dread Knight didn't see me yet. I could sneak up on him and attack. But what if I lost? I might have earned a league badge, but he was still a gym leader. For now, I have to retreat. Sorry, Ghast. If only you'd listened to me before. A little later, I was at the Oasis, still trying to find my way home, when I ran into a giant pig Pokemon, the Piglin Brute. No problem, pigs are usually normal type, so this should be a cinch. But it wasn't as easy as I expected. The Piglin Brute had so many hit points, and its attacks felt like critical hits. Oh no, am I too weak to fight this Pokemon too? I ran away from the battle and continued on for home where I thought I'd be safer. I couldn't believe that I was still so weak after all the training I did. From day 36 to day 39, I arrived home safe and sound, except the base wasn't safe or sound. It was being attacked by the Gorgon again. Oh no, last time I fought her, I barely did any damage.
We meet again, Zozo. Have you come home so you can lose to me again?
No way! If I don't step up and beat you now, the Myrmex Queen and all the others will be in danger.
Suit yourself. I'm going to enjoy this.
We began to battle, and once again, my fire breath and sword attacks were not very effective. And that's when it hit me. Gorgon must be a rock type, and that's why she has such high defenses. But there's one way to deal with rock types, a fighting type attack like Rock Smash. I unequipped my sword and attacked with my fists like a fighting type. Somehow, it actually damaged her.
What? I'm hit? Enjoy your victory while you can. You still aren't worth the trouble.
Gorgon left the base. I guess my training with Oak did pay off. The Myrmex Queen approached me, looking proud.
Zozo, you're back, and not a moment too soon. I just heard there was a power bracer in the lush red desert. If you could get it, you'd be able to upgrade your attack power to the next level.
That sounds like just what I need. We should go find it. I took Myrmex Queen with me, and the two of us went to the lush red desert to search for the power bracer. We didn't get far before we encountered another wild cockatrice. They must be really common for fire types. There was a villager in danger of getting scorched, so I stepped in to help out, striking the cockatrice down with my sword. Thank you for protecting me. You're one friendly Pokemon. Here's a map to the beach where you can find some treasure. Gee, thanks. We said goodbye to the villager and kept searching through the desert. We found the power bracer without needing to worry about another fight.
Great job, Zozo. Now let's return to base and get it equipped.
I got excited and I tried the power bracer on. It fit like a glove and I could feel the power already. We went back to our base afterwards. From day 40 to day 43, the Myrmex Queen and I decided to do a little bit more traveling. That villager we saved the other day had told us about a beach where we could get treasure, and that sounded just too good to pass up. The map we were given showed us the way to where the treasure was. We decided to take a route back through the Forgotten Forest, and that's where we encountered some more ghost-type Pokemon, a horde of skeletons. Hasn't the Dread Knight been catching ghost-type Pokemon? I'll bet these are his.
They can't beat us if we work together, Zozo.
Together, the Myrmex Queen and I reduced the Dread Knight skeletons to a bunch of bones. With all the upgrades I had gotten, it was no sweat. It looks like there was one we missed, and it's getting away. But I guess running from stronger Pokemon is what you'd expect them to do. We made our way out of the Forgotten Forest and into a rocky beach. This must have been the place where the treasure was. Sure enough, there was an open mining pit with a whole bunch of diamonds, ripe for the taking. Sweet! From day 44 to day 49, I was back home at my base, doing some training exercises by myself when Myrmex Queen showed up. Hi, Myrmex Queen!
Hi there, Zozo. I've done a bit more of my part to the statue. Do you mind adding some details to it when you get the chance?
Sure, I can actually do that right now. I went to the statue and began to add some special blocks in order to really make it look good. You can almost tell what it's going to be now. It'll be really exciting when it's complete. I worked on the statue for a bit longer before I noticed that a traveling trader had come to provide us with some hyper potions for the price of some emeralds.
These are some quality potions. You can trust me. Better than super potions, that's for sure.
We were running very low on healing items. I didn't have any emeralds on me, but luckily the queen had some and brought them from storage. That should do it. I bought the potions and thanked the trader for his service. The base was attacked again, right after he left by another dark Pokemon, a Wither. Good things I've been practicing my fighting moves. Hi-ya! Take that, evildoer! The Wither was defeated, but I knew I had to make sure the base was more defensible against enemy attacks. So I went and built a perimeter wall that would make it way more difficult for intruders to get in. From day 50 to day 53, I was collecting more supplies in a nearby prairie when one of the Myrmex workers from the base came and found me. He told me that the Myrmex queen had been captured by a Pokemon trainer. Probably not a very nice one either. The Myrmex queen was a good friend to me, so I knew that I had to go search for her. But I also knew that I would need some help. I decided to go talk to the smartest person I knew, Professor Oak. He was an expert in all things Pokemon, and he might know what kind of trainer I'm looking for too. Fortunately, he happened to be close by and researching the local Pokemon. Professor, please, I need your help.
What seems to be the trouble, Zozo?
The Myrmex queen was captured by a Pokemon trainer, and I need to find her.
That is rather troubling. I would suggest looking for the bug catcher. He's the kind of trainer that specializes in capturing bug-type Pokemon.
That sounds like it's worth a shot. Thank you, Professor. The professor had given me a clue I could use to possibly find my friend. I would save her no matter what, even if I had to fight more skeletons. Speaking of, oh boy! There were some more of the Dread Knight's ghost-type skeleton Pokemon hanging around, but at this point in my journey, battling them wasn't much of a challenge. This time, I defeated every one of them all by myself, and one of them dropped another rare candy. I had better hang on to that for later. From day 54 to day 57, I was in the Mojave Desert again, searching for the bug catcher who might have captured the Myrmex queen. The bug catcher took my friend. They must be the worst. And as if on cue, the Dread Knight jumped out.
I wouldn't say that. After all, they can't be worse than me. I'm the worst of the worst.
Dread Knight, what are you doing here?
I like tormenting you. Everyone knows that it is always best to capture a Pokemon when it's weak.
Not as weak as I used to be, and now I'll show you! I gave the Dread Knight a few good hits with my sword. He didn't seem to be that hurt by it, but I could tell I was doing a bit of damage.
You do have some fight. I guess I'll have to weaken you a bit more before I capture you.
He countered with a strong attack that took off half of my hearts. I wasn't going to defeat him at this rate, but at least I had put a scratch on him. Time to run away! I escaped from the Dread Knight and definitely didn't want to have another fight so soon. Fortunately, I found the same friendly villager who told me about the treasure. Have you seen a bug catcher anywhere? Now that you mention it, I think he was in the prairie not too long ago. Try over there. Thanks. I went to the prairie, but I didn't find the bug catcher or the Myrmex queen. I did find a bug catching net on the ground and one of the Myrmex queen's eggs. Oh no, it's true. The bug catcher has captured my friend. I wanted to go after him, but there was no sign of which way he went or where he might be now. From day 58 to day 62, I returned to my base, frustrated by the lack of leads when it came to rescuing the Myrmex queen. The Myrmex workers were worried sick about their queen. I had to set a good example, so I went mining for some stronger materials. I found more diamonds, and with these and the treasure I found on the beach, I was able to create a diamond helmet and diamond boots. With my remaining diamonds, I crafted a diamond sword to match my armor pieces. I knew they'd be much more useful if I enchanted them, so I built an enchanting area into the base so I could do just that. These diamond armor pieces will really boost my defense stats. I went back out searching for materials because items are just as important in Pokemon battles as abilities are. The underground cavern I was exploring was dark and full of rock and ground-type Pokemon. It also had a hidden treasure in the form of a battle axe. I gave the axe a few swings, and I could already tell how strong it was. I could do some really damaging moves with this thing. The battle axe worked really well on the rock types in the area, so I know it would prove effective on Gorgon too. I returned above ground to base and found that the Ghast was waiting for me.
I have escaped the Dread Knight, and I have some news for you.
What kind of news?
I've heard that the bug catcher is trying to become stronger so he can fight the Dread Knight. He's trying on the coast right now.
That actually helps. You're welcome to haunt the base. I'll be back later to help you settle in. For now, I'm gonna go save the queen. From day 63 to day 66, I gathered my strongest equipment and items and prepared to leave. While I was still there, Professor Oak showed up.
Hello, Zozo. Take this charged coal. You'll know when the right time to use this is.
Thanks, Professor. I might be gone for a while, so watch the base for me until I get back. I headed off in the direction of where the bug catcher was training. Like most Pokemon trainers, bug catcher seemed to move around a lot. Hopefully, I would reach where he was before he moved on to a new region. I didn't stick around too long in any of the places I went before, but I did encounter a Wither. Let's try out that charcoal. The charcoal made my fire attack stronger, and I was able to wipe out the Wither in a single fire attack. Wow, Zozo! That was an impressive fire-type attack. Do you think you could help me light up the fireplace in my house? What are friends for? The villager showed me his cabin at the oasis. I lit the fireplace up so that he could get comfortable and stay warm. That was really helpful. I'll sure to do something nice for you next time, friend. From day 67 to day 70, I found the bug catcher on the rocky beach, and the Myrmex Queen was with him. It looked like they were both in the middle of a Pokemon battle with the Dread Knight skeletons. Myrmex Queen, I traveled all this way to save you from the bug catcher.
Zozo, a friendly face! Give me a hand dealing with these skeletons!
I swung my diamond sword over and over at the skeletons, destroying them one by one. I am the Creeper Pokemon! Fear me! While Myrmex Queen and I battled, some of the skeletons snuck up behind the bug catcher and took him out.
Well, so much for that, trainer.
Didn't he capture you?
No, I went with him to try and trained to fight Dread Knight on my own.
You were training, like me?
I thought I could solve your problem for you, but I'm sorry for worrying you.
We're back together, and that's what matters. Nothing can keep friends like us apart. Now let's take apart the rest of these skeletons. With our combined strength, Myrmex Queen and I finished off the skeletons. The last one to fall dropped a spell tag, an enchantment which gives ghost-type power to items. I should use this later. From day 71 to day 74, I returned to the base with Myrmex Queen. We were greeted by Gast, who had decided to stay after all, and had even built a place for himself.
Looks like the rescue mission worked out.
Sure did. The Myrmex workers have their queen back now, and it looks like the base is now feeling a lot more like home.
Thank you for letting me live here, even though I said I didn't want to at first. Do you want to see the place I built?
Sure thing. The Gast took me to his ghost-type Pokemon room. It was full of spooky things and sort of made me want to eat candy. This looks awesome!
Professor Oak has also decided to move his research lab into the base. You should go see.
Sure enough, Professor Oak had created a place for himself inside the base.
I'm going to get so much work done here. Your base is very advanced, Zozo.
Wow, everyone has really stepped up their crafting game. I'd better do the same. I went mining for some more diamonds to complete my set of diamond armor and tools. I used the spell tag that the skeletons dropped to enchant my diamond sword with ghost-type energy called Lifesteal. When it was finished, I went to the outside of the base where the villager was waiting for me. Hey, Zozo, I decided I'd come over and say hello. Hi, villager! From day 75 to day 78, I followed the villager back to his cabin at the oasis. I had a feeling he was going to repay me for that time I helped him. Here, Zozo, I have a gift for you because you've been so nice to me. I knew it! I mean, thanks! It's a moonstone. Try holding it and see how your power evolves. Oh, super awesome! I held the moonstone and instantly learned some more powerful moves to use in battle. I went outside and battled a few cockatrice to test out my powers. My fire breath had leveled up into a fire blast attack. Even fire types can't take the heat now. From day 79 to day 84, I made some minor improvements to the base. Now that everyone was calling it home, I had to make sure that everyone was taken care of. There were some spare materials lying around, so I crafted a set of iron armor for the Myrmex Queen.
Wow, thanks, Zozo. I guess I'm a bug type and a steel type now.
You've always helped me in battle, but now you'll have stronger defenses for when we fight the Dread Knight's stronger minions.
I'll do my best in our next battles. Thank you for thinking of me.
After I finished talking with the Myrmex Queen, I realized that improving the base had left me short of some key materials, so I went searching for them. While I was out in the rose fields, I encountered a familiar, unfriendly face. It was the Gorgon!
Your armor and weapons have changed, but you're still weak.
What do you know, Gorgon?
I know a lot more than you do about everything, including what Dread Knight is going to do next.
What is he gonna do next?
He'll become a Pokemon Master, of course. An evil Pokemon Master. Once he's done trying to capture weaklings like you.
You can call me weak all you want, Gorgon, but I don't need to prove anything to you. I'm going home. From day 85 to day 89, I left the Rose Field and returned to my base, where the Dread Knight was lying in wait.
Gorgon told me I needed to end our little cat and mouse game. So I've come here to capture you once and for all.
If it's a battle you want, it's a battle you'll get! The Dread Knight attacked with his usual opening move, but I was ready for it, so I dodged. I struck him back with my ghost-enchanted diamond sword. It seemed to deal some real damage.
A ghost weapon? Well, that's new. Guess I don't need to hold back.
His next strike was a brand new move I had never seen before. It left me completely defenseless. Oh no, what should I do? Then I remembered I was still carrying the charged coal that Professor Oak gave me. Maybe if I used it correctly, I could evolve. The last time I needed a rare candy for that, and I have one. I know, I'm gonna use them both at once. I activated the rare candy and the charged coal together, and suddenly I evolved into a brand new creeper Pokemon form with 80 hearts!
Evolution? And so strong as well?
I believe we have a battle to finish!
Some other time, Zozo.
The Dread Knight deployed his skeleton minions and ran away, but I was eager to test out my new powers on the Horde. I had a new signature move called Falling TNT, which dropped exploding TNT blocks on enemy Pokemon. Those skeletons were dust, and the base was completely safe. From day 90 to day 94, Myrmex Queen had almost completed the statue that she had been building the entire time. Wow, it's amazing, Myrmex Queen!
It'll be even more amazing after you add the finishing touches. I have confidence that you'll make this statue look as incredible as I know it will. No pressure.
It took a lot of materials, and I had to mine for more several times, but in the end, the statue stood triumphantly over the base. It was a statue of Arceus, the mightiest and most ancient creator god of all Pokemon. I am humbled to be in your presence, Arceus. Next on my list of things to do was help Professor Oak become stronger so that he could help me fight against the Dread Knight. I decided to give him a potion of strength.
Thank you. And speaking of potion, you should go get some more healing potions from that merchant. We have a few more emeralds, and that should be enough to seal the deal.
Good idea, Professor. This time I purchased Max Potions, the strongest form of healing potion available. From day 95 to day 97, I went back to the Rose Fields where I met Gorgon that one time. Her taunting distracted me, so I wasn't able to search the whole biome for materials. Uh-oh, it looks like some other ghost types are here. Zombie Pokemon! There were zombies everywhere! But because ghost types were actually weak against other ghost type attacks, my ghostly diamond sword was the perfect weapon to thin them out. That's right, shamble away! I continued to use ghost type attacks on the ones that got into melee range and used my falling TNT attacks to reduce their numbers. Eventually, I had defeated or driven away all the zombies in the Rose Field. When the battle was over, I noticed there was a special sword stuck into a stone. It was a netherite sword, and it was charged with even more ghostly power than my diamond sword. Oh, this is just what I was looking for. I took the sword with me and began to walk home to my base. On day 98, I was confronted by Gorgon just outside of my base.
This stops now, Creeper Pokemon Zozo. You have gone from a minor annoyance to the one thing that is stopping Dread Knight from becoming a Pokemon Master. I'm going to end you here and now for his sake.
Well, it was nice knowing you, Gorgon.
What?
I'm feeling like a one-hit KO! I drew my fighting battle axe, knowing it would be super effective against Gorgon, and with one single slash, I defeated her! Critical hit! Now that I'd defeated Gorgon, I knew the battle with Dread Knight would be coming, so I built the perimeter wall a bit higher and gathered my max potions.
Has the time arrived for you to face your destiny, Zozo?
I don't know about destiny, but I'm definitely ready to take down the Dread Knight.
Then allow me to come with you. That way I can record what a fully evolved creeper Pokemon looks like at its most powerful. After you win, of course.
And I will! The professor and I left the base, and soon we were on the road to the Dread Knight's evil Pokemon gym. This had been quite a journey, and if you want to see more of my adventures, remember to search ZOZO to find more videos and subscribe so you can always know when I upload next. On day 99, we arrived at the Red Rock Highlands, which is where we found the Dread Knight's evil Pokemon gym.
The challenge will begin as soon as we enter his lair. Are you still ready to face him, Zozo?
From the moment I spawned into this world, I knew I'd have to fight. I'm ready as ever, Professor.
and let's head inside.
Suddenly, the professor and I were ambushed by more of the ghost-type skeletons! Not these guys again! They surrounded us! These must have been the highest level Pokemon that the Dread Knight has! I could handle them myself, but Professor Oak was a professor, not a Pokemon! He was in serious trouble!
Go on, Zozo. This may look like a troublesome situation, but I'm Professor Oak. I've seen far more rare and dangerous Pokemon than this and survived. The only thing that is different this time is that I don't want to slow you down.
Professor!
Go! I'll manage somehow. Go defeat Dread Knight. He must not become an evil Pokemon Master.
I didn't want to leave the professor, but I could tell that he was serious, so I braced myself and ran directly into the gym where I would soon come face to face with the Dread Knight. On day 100, I was face to face with the Dread Knight.
Oh, it's you, Zozo.
No more running, Dread Knight, for either of us. No matter who wins or loses, this will be the last battle that we ever have. I'm not backing down.
A Pokemon cannot hope to stand against a master. I will show you the true meaning of fear. You don't have a ghost of a chance against me.
No more puns either. We clashed weapons, and I was glad that I brought my netherite sword. It was the perfect weapon to use in this battle. I was able to make the Dread Knight move back out from melee range and launch my Fire Blast attack. Now that had to hurt.
It's not very effective, you foolish creeper Pokemon.
Rats! I thought I had him.
I'm going to use my own signature move now. See if you can dodge it.
The Dread Knight created a Shadow Ball, even more powerful than his skeleton guards, and he launched it straight at me. I dodged out of the way, knowing that one hit from that would KO me.
Say goodnight, Zozo. Get it? Because I'm a knight.
That's your worst pun yet, Dread Knight.
It was Professor Oak. He had come to help. He threw a Pokeball, and instantly it absorbed the Dread Knight's power.
Now's your chance, Zozo. He could only use that move by becoming a ghost type himself. Strike him down.
Right, take this, Dread Knight. I delivered the final blow with my netherite sword. With the battle finally over, I was a free Pokemon. Oh, I guess Professor Oak would be able to come up with quite the Pokedex entry for this creeper Pokemon. On day 1, I spawned into the Badlands as a slippery, fiery fire eel. I'm one spicy unagi, but I wouldn't be very filling. I'm only a baby eel, but I'm sure I could still pack a fiery punch. I breathed a jet of fire, one of my awesome fire eel starter powers. I was feeling super confident about what the next 100 days could hold. But my confidence didn't last for long, because a huge dread beast came running across the Badlands towards me. There was no way he was up to anything good. Still, I tried my best to be polite. Hey there, Dread Beast. I'm Zozo. It's nice to meet you. What a lovely day we're having, right?
Yes, a lovely day. Even lovelier now that I've found you. A delicious fire eel.
Wait, what? What do you mean delicious?
I am the all-devouring dread beast, Zozo. All that matters to me is finding and eating tasty things, because I'm always hungry.
Oh no.
And don't even think about slithering away, little eel. I love fast food.
But I slithered away anyway, going as fast as I could. There was no way I was going to be devoured by a dread beast on my very first day in the overworld. But I don't think that nasty dread beast is gonna quit either. I need to get strong enough to beat that monster, or I worry I'm gonna spend 100 days preparing to become its lunch. On day 2, I kept slithering until I finally found a place in the Badlands to stop and catch my breath. It's not exactly the most hospitable place to spawn. Then again, given that I'm a fire eel, it's probably better than spawning somewhere cold. And hey, at least I have 10 hearts. I realized that all that talk about eating me had, weirdly, made me kind of hungry. These will make for a perfect snack. I busted down the tree and started eating those delicious crunchy apples, feeling my hunger bar replenish. That's when I felt something that a fire eel should never want to feel, the cold. I turned and saw that it was because a ghost was floating right behind me.
Give in, Zozo. To be devoured by the mighty dread beast is your destiny.
What? You don't even have anything to do with that. You're just some random ghost. Why would you want the dread beast to eat me?
You're so foolish, Zozo. I have everything to do with it. I was a villager once, and then the dread beast ate me. I came back as a ghost, forever enslaved to his will.
That's terrifying. I'm sorry, Mr. Ghost, but there's no way I'm letting that happen to me. I turned and ran for my life in the opposite direction. That spooky ghost and his master/eater had already freaked me out enough for one day. When I came to a stop, alone in the middle of the Badlands, I was exhausted and honestly felt like crying. That's when I was approached by a surprisingly friendly Gorgon.
Hey, little buddy, you look sad. I'm Grace, Grace the Gorgon. Why don't you come with me? I can help you out.
That sounds nice. Thank you. I've had a really hard day.
Oh, don't I know it? Come with me. I'll take you to a friend of mine's place. You'll be safe there.
On day 3, Grace the Gorgon and I traveled through the Badlands until we found a small shack with a troll waiting outside. But rather than posting mean comments on the internet, he seemed happy to see us. Grace the Gorgon hung back while I approached to get acquainted with the cheerful troll.
The name's Terry. Terry the troll. You look like you seen a ghost, fella.
I have seen a ghost actually, and it was the ghost of one of the past victims of a giant monster that wants to eat me.
Whoa, that's heavy, man. A monster wants to eat ya. That sounds like something the Dread Beast would do.
Yes, the Dread Beast! That's the one! Is there anything I could do to stop that awful monster from eating me?
Isn't it obvious? You're gonna need to slay it. Get it before it gets you. You get me?
Slay the Dread Beast? That doesn't sound like it's gonna be easy.
Sure, it won't be easy, but is anything worth doing ever easy? Get out there, make a base, get some allies who will work with you. It'll be tough, and it'll take time, but the way I see it, little fire eel, it's the only way you're gonna get out of this.
Well, an eel's gotta do what an eel's gotta do. Thanks for the advice, Terry. I'm gonna try my best to get strong enough and make enough allies to defeat the Dread Beast. From day 4 to day 5, Grace the Gorgon and I went deeper into the Badlands until we found an area that looked like it'd be perfect for building a base.
But you're gonna need some tools first, Zozo. Maybe start out by gathering some wood.
Good idea, Grace. I used what little baby eel strength I had to break down a tree and collect the wood for building a wooden pickaxe. It's mining time! And then I mined into the ground, collecting enough stone to build myself a stone pickaxe and a stone sword. But I didn't stop there. I continued gathering stone until I had enough to build myself a basic base with 2 rooms. One for me and one for Grace the Gorgon.
These rooms both look awesome, Zozo.
Thank you. It wasn't easy to build them, but I'm glad I did. Out of curiosity, Grace, why did you choose to stay with me?
Because I hate bullies, and I wasn't going to leave you out there, vulnerable to the Dread Beast. We'll stick together and win this thing.
Oh, you're the best, Grace! And that moment was so heartwarming, my hearts grew twice as big. Literally, I was bigger, stronger, had 20 hearts, and I gained an awesome new ability, shooting flaming wither skulls. Ah, yeah, that's more like it. From day 6 to day 8, I ventured out to a new location, the Basalt Barrera. It's nice to take a load off and see new places. It takes my mind off the fact that a terrifying monster wants to eat me alive. Oh no, now I'm thinking about it again. But I didn't have any more time to stand around feeling anxious because the same ghost that was hassling me earlier emerged out of the trees.
Zozo, I found you.
I really wish you'd unfind me.
You still have your sense of humor. Good. You'll need that when you're a ghost. The days are dark and the nights are long. It will never end.
Actually, it's gonna end for you right now. I was sick of being chased away by monsters, so I unleashed my fire breath onto the ghost, weakening him and making him physical before finishing him off with my stone sword. Nobody's eating me. I won't allow it. My battle with the ghost must have caught the attention of a Cyclops who was wandering through the Basalt Barrera. He immediately approached me with an offer.
Name's Sid the Cyclops. I may not have great depth perception, but I can see a real strength in ya. Think you can do a job for me? I got a local freaky customer who needs attending to.
Sure, I'll give it the old fire eel try. From day 9 to day 10, I went out to a remote part of the Basalt Barrera with Sid the Cyclops following close behind. Who exactly do you want me to fight here, Sid?
Believe me, when you see him, you'll know.
And Sid was right. The second I saw him, I did know. It was a huge, frightening Dread Knight. I could see why Sid didn't want to take him on himself. Well, here goes nothing. I ran in and faced the Dread Knight alone.
Doth thou wish to challenge me, knave?
Oh yeah, consider yourself challenged.
'Tis a battle then.
I fought the Dread Knight, but none of my attacks seemed to do any damage. The fight seemed hopeless, and in the end, all I could do was turn and run. I met back up with Sid the Cyclops, not far from the site of the battle. I'm not strong enough to take on this Dread Knight yet, Sid, but until I am, how about you come and hang out at my base?
Just sounds like a gas. Let's go.
From day 11 to day 12, I returned to my base with Sid the Cyclops. I got to work on building him a new room right alongside the rooms I'd built for myself and Grace. By the time I was done, Sid looked delighted.
I've always wanted a second home. This is a big deal for me. I feel like a celebrity or something.
I'm glad you like it, Sid. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home.
Well, it's not quite as humble now. Go take a look at some upgrades I created while you were building my bedroom.
I took a look at the upgrades, and I was extremely impressed. He'd built a furnace, which would allow me to smelt ores into ingots for building weapons and armor. And he'd also built a storage room where I could store more weapons and resources. Speaking of resources, I'm hungry. I should probably find a way to keep my food supply sustainable. To that end, I started herding some chickens from the surrounding badlands and created a small farm with some coops to keep them for eggs and chicken. And now, it's time to put that furnace to good use. I searched until I found a deep cave, and inside, it didn't take me long to find a nice vein of iron ore. I mined it with my stone pickaxe until I had enough to take back. I returned to my base and smelted the ore into iron ingots. With the help of a few leftover sticks, I made myself an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. This will give me something to put in the storage room too. From day 13 to day 15, I started feeling antsy, thinking about the fact that the Dread Beast was out there, biding its time, waiting for the right moment to strike. I realized that I needed to get stronger, so I returned to Grace the Gorgon for some advice on what I should do next.
One of the biggest sources of the Dread Beast's power is the legion of ghosts created from his former meals. The more of them you can free from their bounds on the overworld, the weaker he'll be. I actually think there's another one near here at the Basalt Barrera.
Because Grace always seemed to be right, I ventured out to the Basalt Barrera, and exactly as she'd predicted, there was one of the Dread Beast's ghostly servants waiting for me. Looks like I have my work cut out for me here. Through a mix of my fire attacks and the work of my strong new iron sword, I was able to defeat the ghost. It even dropped a potion of strength on the ground, which I picked up and drank. Wait, I can feel something happening. Suddenly, I started to grow, getting bigger and feeling my number of hearts grow to 30. I also experienced additional damage on every single one of my attacks. Grace was right, I'm much stronger already. This really was the trip out here. From day 16 to day 19, I went out to the bayou as a test of my courage. It was dangerous to wander around there with so much water everywhere. Still, what's life without a little risk here and there? I can't be a truly powerful fire eel if I'm not brave. But this journey was more valuable than just building up my confidence. While I was slithering along, I discovered a strange old book of fairy tales and decided to give it a read. Man's hunger for wealth and power once unlocked darker and deeper hungers. Greedy miners who wanted diamonds and gold dug deeper than they should and uncovered the monstrous Dread Beast, a creature with a hunger to devour the whole world. Wow, so that's where the Dread Beast came from. I wonder what I can do with this information. But I didn't have time to ponder on this for too long because I looked up and saw another eerie ghost floating toward me out of the darkness of the bayou.
You can't escape, Zozo. I thought I could escape. I was so silly. He ate me like he ate all the others. He'll eat you too, Zozo. He'll eat you too.
I vaporized the ghost with a wither skull and then ran out of there. I didn't feel like spending any more time in the bayou that day. From day 20 to day 22, I went back into the mining cave to collect a little more iron ore before returning to my base and smelting it into iron ingots. I've got some cool weapons and tools. Now it's time to get myself some awesome armor. I made an iron chestplate, which, admittedly, you couldn't actually see on my fire eel body, but would provide me some valuable defensive abilities anyway. I'm stronger than I've ever been, but now it's time to use that strength for good. There's an old score I have to settle. I returned again to the Basalt Barrera with one thing on my mind, finally defeating the Dread Knight. When I found him again, I pulled out my sword and squared up to him.
Doth thou return to fight me, you sad little fire eel? You cannot destroy that which has already been destroyed.
What does that even mean?
Once upon a time, I was a knight, a brave and powerful knight. I battled many a monster and believed that I could also slay the dread beast. But I was wrong, terribly, terribly wrong. The dread beast devoured me, and now my soul is bound to his. I'm a shade of my former self.
And let me free you from this terrible state, Dread Knight. I fired a Wither Skull at the Dread Knight, then ran in to battle him directly. With my new skills and my iron sword, I was able to hold my own against the Dread Knight and eventually destroy him. Rest well, tragic knight. I'll avenge you and all the others.
Oh, will you now?
I turned with horror to see the Dread Beast itself standing close behind me. Even with my new strength, he still looked just as frightening.
Tasty, tasty little eel. It's almost time, Zozo. I'm getting so hungry I can barely control myself.
I didn't want to stick around and see if the Dread Beast could keep a leash on his appetite. Instead, I just turned and ran away as quickly as I could. From day 23 to day 26, I returned to my base to tell Sid the Cyclops that I had managed to defeat the Dread Knight and free him from his torment in the process.
Zozo, how did the go, my guy?
The Dread Knight won't be bothering you anymore. I don't feel much like celebrating about it though. He was just as much a victim of the Dread Beast as me. He's really, really evil.
Evil is as evil does, I guess. What can we do about it?
We can help each other. We can fight back.
I like where your head's at, kid. But where do we start?
Should probably upgrade my gear. If I want to do that, I'd better get mining. I headed down into the mining cave to see what I could find. I managed to gather some iron ingots, and I took them back to my base and smelted them, making an iron helmet. I feel tougher already. Then Grace the Gorgon approached me.
I heard what you did for the Dread Knight. That was an amazing start. As a thank you for your hard work, I've added an improvement to the base that I believe you'll approve of. It's a security bunker, a safe place to retreat to in the event of an ambush by the Dread Beast or one of his ghostly army.
Awesome, thank you! From day 27 to day 31, I went back out to the bayou, equipped with my new helmet and a renewed sense of purpose. I was a little worried I would run into another ghost, but instead, a big friendly panda came ambling up to me.
I heard you're the guy who got rid of that ghost who was terrorizing us out in these parts. Thank you kindly for that.
Of course! Are there any more ghosts out here?
None that I've seen, but if you're offering help, I sure could use a place to stay. See, that nasty ghost critter tore my house right up. Any chance you've got a spare room? And that room is panda-sized?
Sure. Well, I don't have a room for you yet, but I can build one. Let's go back to my base and we'll get you settled in.
Thanks. By the way, my name's Patrick.
I'm Zozo.
You sure are impressive for an eel, Zozo.
Well, that's kind of reductive, but thanks anyway. Come on. Patrick the panda followed me back to my base, and I got to work on building him a room where he could stay. When I was finished, Grace the Gorgon came to talk to me.
Zozo, Terry the Troll needs help. There's a ghost attacking his home, but I can't fight it alone. Will you come with me and help?
Of course, poor Terry. Let's head on over there right now. From day 32 to day 35, Grace the Gorgon and I traveled to the Badlands to help Terry the Troll. When we got there, Terry's shack was a mess. And I don't mean he forgot to pick up his dirty socks. I mean the whole thing had been knocked down. And Terry was nowhere to be seen. Instead, there was just a creepy ghost hovering out front.
You're too late, Zozo. Your friend has already left this life behind. Pity he died this way and not in the jaws of the mighty Dread Beast. He was not as lucky as you will be.
What do you mean? That can't be true!
But it is. One way or another, you will join us. I have heard that the Dread Beast is craving eel pie, and his hunger will soon be sated.
No, it won't! You may have taken my friend, but I'll never let you beat me! I shot a Wither Skull at the ghost and vaporized it. It felt good, but I was still heartbroken about Terry.
We can't let Terry's death be in vain, Zozo.
I may only be a little fire eel, but as long as I have fire breath in my body, I won't let the Dread Beast do this to anyone ever again! From day 36 to day 39, I returned to the Basalt Barrera. Now that I got rid of the Dread Knight, this place is pretty peaceful. I'd love to kick back and relax out here. Well, not kick, I don't have feet, but you get the idea. I was just about to try and squeeze in a little relaxation between quests when another ogre approached me.
Oi, your name's Zozo, isn't it? I've got a right awful bloke in me house. He just won't leave. I tried to chase him out, and he said he'd burn me to a crisp, he did.
Wow, people from the Nether sure have a funny way of talking. But I get what you mean, friend. Show me the way, and I'll do my best to help. He took me to his house, where, sure enough, a great big fire ogre was getting ready to burn the place down. Luckily, I threw a wither skull and stopped him before he could torch the Nether ogre's house. Here you go. Still just as not burnt down as it was before.
Well, Bob's your uncle. Say, you're that bloke what's looking to get rid of the dread beast?
I am.
Well, he's only out there in the swamplands, he is.
That's good to know. I just won't go there until I'm strong enough to fight and win. From day 40 to day 43, I traveled back home to my base. When I got there, I was surprised to find Sid the Cyclops waiting for me.
Hey there, Zozo! While you were out, I built some additional rooms.
Oh, that's amazing. I need a room for my friend here. But what made you think of that?
Well, I was hoping we could invite more guests to come stay. I know a few guys.
It turns out that very guy was Patrick the Panda, who I'd already met. The more the merrier. Here's your new room, Patrick.
Holy, it's perfect, Zozo. Say, could you do me one more favor? Could you go to the bayou and get my favorite book? I left it out there, and I've got a hankering for reading.
Sure, I'll head over there now. From day 44 to day 49, I traveled to the bayou to look for Patrick the Panda's favorite book. I probably should have asked him what it looked like, or what it was called. Oh well, I'm here now. But I wasn't the only one here. The terrifying dread beast popped out right in front of me.
Indeed you are, Zozo. Tasty eel, it's almost my supper time. Once it is, I will feast. And the prophecy foretells that once I eat a fire eel, I will reach my ultimate power and devour all that I see.
I'll never let you eat me, especially not after you said all that scary stuff.
When the time comes, you will not be able to escape.
With that, he disappeared, but I didn't get a chance to wonder where he went. In his place, he left behind a huge, mean-looking blue manticore.
Look upon your future, Zozo. If I could not defeat the dread beast, then surely a tiny, insignificant fire eel will not be able to. You will be devoured like the rest.
Why still work for him after what he did to you?
Fool, there is no choice. Once the dread beast has eaten you, there is no freedom.
That's terrible. I could tell he was the toughest opponent I'd faced so far, but if I wanted to save myself and free the blue manticore from the dread beast's grip, I was going to have to win! From day 50 to day 53, I continued my fight against the blue manticore. He was even stronger than he looked. I was pretty worried that I might not make it out of this one.
Just accept your fate.
Never! No one deserves that! I used all of the strength I had and fought as hard as I could. And with the help of my trusty wither skull, I finally managed to defeat him. But by the time I did, the dread beast was long gone. I was hoping to find out where exactly his base is. I know it's in a swamp, but where? Just then, I noticed something on the ground. The manticore must have dropped it. I took a closer look, and it was a map with Dread Beast Clubhouse written on it. This must be where his base is. Once I'm strong enough, I'm going straight there. From day 54 to day 57, I continued my search for Patrick the Panda's book. Finally, I came across a book lying on the ground. I went over to pick it up, but a hell ostrich leapt at me and started attacking. Hey, that's my friend's book. I need it back. The hell ostrich didn't say anything. It just kept attacking me. Okay, we don't have to chat about it, but you just have to let me take the book. With a few well-timed attacks, I was able to defeat the hell ostrich and grab the book. Sure enough, it said Panda's book on it. It also dropped something else, netherite ingots. Maybe I can use these later. I hurried back to my base to find Patrick the Panda. Patrick, I got your book.
Thank you, Zozo. I reckon I'll never know how to repay you.
You can pay me back with your friendship, and by enjoying that book.
I also happen to have heard tell of a magic apple, one that gives anyone who eats it a massive boost of strength. Might be just what you need.
I'll keep an eye out for a magic apple then. From day 58 to day 62, I took a look around my base. This place is pretty great, but it could be even better. I wandered over to the chicken farm and had an idea. That's it. I'll expand this area so we can have even more chickens. With all of these new people staying at the base, we'll need lots of eggs. After that, I headed back into the mining cave to look for anything I could use to upgrade my gear. It took a long time, but I managed to find some diamonds. I took them back to my base and used them to craft a set of diamond armor, a diamond pickaxe, and a diamond sword. Wait until the Dread Beast gets a look at this. Good luck eating all these diamonds. Grace the Gorgon then approached with some more good news.
Zozo, come and see what I've done. I've added to the base. This is the party room, where we can all celebrate when you've bested the beast. I know you can do it.
Thanks for believing in me, Grace. From day 63 to day 66, I was hanging out at my base, practicing my dance moves in the party room when Sid the Cyclops came to see me.
Zozo, I heard that there might be some helpful materials in Birch Forest.
Where'd you hear that?
Got a tip from my materials guy.
It's good enough for your guy, it's good enough for me. I traveled to the Birch Forest and got to work looking for anything useful. As I searched, I spotted a maned wolf stalking her way toward me. Please don't attack me, I'm busy.
I wasn't gonna attack you. I was gonna say hi and ask you for a favor if that's okay. I'm Mallory.
Nice to meet you, I'm Zozo. What kind of favor?
My baby was kidnapped by a silver skeleton. Please help me get it back.
Of course, where did you last see him? Let's go. From day 67 to day 70, I followed the maned wolf to another part of the Birch Forest. There, I could see a silver skeleton. Where are you hiding the baby maned wolf?
I'll never tell. She's definitely not locked in that building over there.
Huh, I tricked you. Time to fight. I didn't give the silver skeleton any more time. I shot a wither skull at the skeleton. He attacked me in return, but my armor kept me from taking too much damage. Then it was time to test out my new diamond sword. I was able to defeat the silver skeleton with only 2 swipes. Then I opened the door to the nearby totally not suspicious building, and there was the baby wolf.
Thank you so much. I'll change her name to Zozo after you.
That's really nice, but please don't do that. A thanks is enough. From day 71 to day 74, I decided to follow the map to the cold swamplands and try to sneak a look at that Dread Beast hideout. While I was following the map's path, I started thinking about how much had already happened. I've had some amazing adventures so far. To find even more of my awesome antics, make sure to search ZOZO. That's my name. Finally, I reached the cold swamplands. Jeez, they call it cold for a reason. This is definitely no place for a fire eel. Then, in swooped the Dread Beast.
You will have plenty of time to get used to it after I've had my meal and your spirit is trapped here forever.
The Dread Beast found me before I found him. Time to see if I'm ready to fight this guy. I shot a wither skull at him, but he tanked it with complete ease. I'll try the sword. I attacked with my sword, but he barely seemed to feel it.
Like a mere paper cut.
Uh-oh, he hit me back, and my new armor protected me from getting completely knocked down, but I knew I wouldn't last too much longer. I'm not ready to take him on. From day 75 to day 78, I ran all the way back to my base. I wish I could fight him now, but if I do that before I get stronger, I'll lose for sure. I decided to lie down in my room for a while. I want to be a hero, but I'm starting to think that, sadly, I'm only an eel. Grace the Gorgon knocked on my door, interrupting my sad thoughts.
Hey Zozo, I know you're disappointed, but I wanted to show you an addition I've made to our home here. Come and look.
I followed her all the way to a new watchtower. Oh, this is pretty cool. Thank you, Grace. I feel better. While Grace and I were admiring the watchtower and all the watching we'd be able to do up there, Patrick joined me.
Take a look at what I found.
He handed me a magic apple. Hey, this is like the one you told me about.
Not just like it, it's the same one. Try it.
I ate the apple, and I felt myself growing bigger and more powerful. My hearts increased to 60, and I gained a new attack. I could shoot a fireball. I'll show that Dread Beast what being a fire eel is all about. From day 79 to day 84, I traveled back to the cold swamplands. This time, if the Dread Beast ambushes me again, I'll be ready. I didn't spot him anywhere, but I was able to test out my new strength and my fireball on an undead scorpion that tried to sting me. Nice try, but I'm not a little fire eel that people can pick on anymore. I'm a big, strong eel that plays by my own rules. That awesome act of firepower attracted the attention of a friendly polar bear.
You sure are. I know what that's like. Well, not the being an eel part. As you can see, I'm a polar bear.
Hi, I decided to sit with the polar bear for a little while, and when I finally got up to go, he stopped me for a second.
Thanks for the company. Hey, is that netherite? Attach it to your sword, like this.
Then he crafted a netherite sword for me. Thank you, this is great! From day 85 to day 89, I said goodbye to the nice polar bear and took my new netherite sword back to my base. When I got there, I saw that someone had destroyed my new watchtower. Hey, Grace worked really hard on that. I looked around for the culprit, and I saw a ghost floating away into the Badlands. Oh, no you don't. I chased after the ghost as fast as I could. As I did, a painted kitty stopped me.
Excuse me? Could you point the way to the birch forest? I'm terribly lost.
I quickly pointed her in the right direction, then kept running after the ghost. Looks like he's running toward the cold swamplands. From day 90 to day 94, I finally managed to catch up with the ghost. He ran into the Dreadbeast's hideout. I stopped just outside. I'm not ready to go in there yet, but I can wait out here and see what happens. The ghost came back out of the hideout like he was looking for me. I got a better look at him and saw that he wasn't just a ghost. He was a huge, tough-looking dreadghoul.
My, look who took the bait. It's the main course for the coming feast.
I'm so sick of you all saying stuff like that.
Then try and stop me, if you dare.
I shot a fireball at the dreadghoul, and it barely even fazed him. Uh-oh, he's the toughest minion I've fought yet. From day 95 to day 97, I continued my battle against the dreadghoul. I really need to do my best if I'm gonna win this one. With the help of my new netherite sword, I was finally able to knock the dreadghoul down for good. His helmet fell to the floor, and I grabbed it. It was netherite. This goes great with my sword. Hey, what's this? I spotted a note on the ground. It says the Dreadbeast is getting worried about me. He thinks I might be able to destroy him before he can eat me and fulfill the prophecy. This is great news. It means I'm definitely on the right track. I can't back down. I've got to get everything I possibly need before I enter the final battle. On day 98, I returned to my base. Grace the Gorgon and the rest were waiting for me. I'm really starting to think I can do this. I wasn't so sure before, but now I know everything will work out.
It will. And look, I fixed the watchtower. The Dreadbeast and his ilk can't keep us down.
Yeah! Next, I spoke to Patrick the Panda.
Zozo, before you head on out of here to fight that big boss, take this. It's a potion of strength. It'll power you up good.
Thank you, this is just what I need. And finally, Sid the Cyclops.
I don't have any potions or any repairs done. Just this. I may only have one eye, but I can see a bright future ahead of you, and the rest of us too. Because you're gonna do it, kid.
Thank you. Well, no more waiting around. I've got to go see a Dreadbeast about a battle. On day 99, I traveled back to the cold swamplands and the Dreadbeast's hideout. When I got there, I started to get pretty worried because the whole place was crawling with ghosts. Well, they were floating, but they were everywhere. But the maned wolf from before came bounding up to me.
I can handle these ghosts. You get inside while I keep them busy.
While the maned wolf took care of the ghost, I finally entered the Dreadbeast clubhouse. On day 100, I entered the Dreadbeast base and found him waiting there for me.
Yes, I knew you'd be here soon. My stomach has been growling. Time to feast.
Why do you have to eat all these innocent victims? Why can't you just have some pie or a sandwich like everybody else?
Because no sandwich in this world tastes sweeter than absolute power.
What about pie? Pie's pretty sweet.
Enough talk. I'm much too hungry and I'm craving fire eel.
He lunged at me and attacked, but I was ready. I dodged him and shot back a fireball in return. It hit him, but he kept going. He rushed at me again, and this time he knocked me back. But I wasn't done yet. I used my netherite sword to get the upper hand.
Zozo, imagine it. If you join my ghostly army, then you will share in my infinite power. The world will be ours.
No thanks, I'm not taking that deal. I drank the strength potion and finally got the better of him. And with one more swipe of my sword, I destroyed the mighty, terrible Dreadbeast. I did it! I saved the day! I'll say it, this eel is on fire! On day 1, I spawned in as MIKEY from MAIZEN. All right, JJ, what are we doing today? Wait, where's JJ? Mikey is never without his best buddy JJ. Oh no, JJ must be in trouble. Luckily, I've got 8 hearts. It must be because I'm a turtle. I've got this tough shell to help protect me from danger, and I'm probably a really good swimmer. This'll help me find JJ for sure. I looked up and realized I'd spawned under a tree filled with apples, so I reached up to pick myself a thinking snack. But before I could take a bite, an arrow flew past my head. Oh no, skeletons! I grabbed as many apples as I could carry and ran away before one of their arrows hit me, since I had to stay in one piece to find JJ. Hey, what's the big idea? I'm just picking apples. I just kept running and running until I found a log cabin in the middle of the woods. It wasn't anything fancy, and it definitely needed some repairs, but it was cozy and a perfect place to hide for the night. There was even a lake right next to the cabin. Maybe I could go swimming once I was sure the skeletons were gone. And there were probably fish to catch in there for dinner. I just wish that JJ were here to see it too. On day 2, I went exploring around the lake and gathered some wood. I gathered enough wood to make an axe. I could use it to fix up the cabin for when I found JJ. Next, I went back to the apple tree to gather some more fruit. Hey, with enough apples, maybe I could even make a pie. But I didn't have the chance to think too much more about that because there was a gremlin chef coming up to pick apples too.
Please don't take all the apples. I need at least 4.
Don't worry, I left you plenty.
Oh, thank you. I was worried.
Have you seen my friend JJ? He's missing.
Don't know anyone by that name, I'm afraid. Someone in the village might. You should go ask around.
Thanks, I will.
Just be careful. Someone's been stealing animals and supplies around here. Maybe they took your friend, too.
I sure hoped not, but if JJ was in trouble, I would find a way to help him. Thank you, Chef. Good luck with whatever you're making.
It's pie.
Great minds think alike, and I guess he was pretty great. I took my apples back to the cabin, and along the way I found some sticks and string. I used them to craft a fishing rod and went fishing in the lake. I caught 3 fish. On day 3, I decided to work on fixing up the cabin as much as I could. I patched some holes in the wall and added a fence all around it for some extra protection. While I was working on the cabin, I found a secret back room. It was hidden behind a picture hanging on the wall. There was so much space back there. I had no idea. If I couldn't find that room without looking super carefully, then I was willing to bet no monsters would be able to find me in there either. I decided to make the secret back room my new base and got to work filling it with everything I found so far: the apples, the fish, and my tools. Then I went back to the lake to try and catch some more fish. Before I started fishing, I saw a block near the trees that looked a little strange. I used my pickaxe to break it open, and inside was a nasty silverfish. I should have been more careful. I knew they could contaminate blocks in some areas. I managed to fight off the silverfish, and when I got finished, I felt myself getting stronger. Defeating them made me a better fighter, and I knew I could handle the next enemy way better. Clearly, the exercise helped, because now I had 10 hearts. I was so excited, I swam around the lake, and I was an even faster swimmer too. What an exciting day, but I couldn't lose sight of my goal. I had to find JJ. On day 4 to 5, I was walking toward the village to see if anyone there could help me find JJ. On the way, I found a bush full of sweet berries. I stopped to pick some of the berries when all of a sudden I was surrounded by skeletons again. This time, there was no way for me to run away. Why are you doing this? What do you want?
The boss wants us to bring you to him, just like your little friend.
JJ, you know where he is?
Of course we kidnapped him, in the service of the fallen king.
Who is that?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yes, I would. That's why I'm asking.
Enough talking. You're coming with us.
But I was stronger this time than I was before. I'd have to face them, and I wasn't going anywhere without a fight. The skeletons started closing in on me, but I pulled out my axe and started swinging as fast and as hard as I could. I wasn't sure if I'd make it. There were so many of them, but I fought hard and used my newfound strength and speed to get them tired out and taken down. Then I grabbed my berries and ran back to my base, safe and sound. But I still had so many questions. What did they do with JJ? Where did they want to take me, and why? And who was the fallen king? And what did he have planned? I needed to get a good night's rest because there was definitely a big fight waiting for me in the days to come. On days 6 to 8, I found a cave in the woods where I could do some mining. I was going to need a lot more tools if I was going to find the fallen king and get JJ back from him. Wow, this cave is amazing! Look at all of this stuff! I found some flint, coal, iron, and even some gold. I took all the materials back to my base, crafted some furnaces, and crafted a pickaxe, a sword, a bow and arrow, and a pair of shiny gold boots. These will help protect me when I go up against those skeletons again. It had gotten pretty dark by the time I was finished, and I heard some strange noises coming from outside my cabin. I looked outside, and there were a bunch of ghasts trying to get inside. They were floating by the fence, opening their mouths, and getting ready to shoot fireballs at me. You picked the wrong cabin to mess with. If you just turn around and leave, we won't have to have any trouble. Otherwise, I'm going to get my bow and start firing arrows, and you won't like that very much. I waited for them to leave, but they didn't listen to my warning. Time to fight some gas then. I grabbed my bow and shot the first arrow. Before long, they were retreating, running away from the cabin like they were scared of me. I guess they were. With my new equipment, I was even tougher than before. With the danger gone for now, I hopped into bed to get some well-deserved rest. On days 9 and 10, I finally made it into the village. I was looking for answers, but I was also looking for some more supplies. I couldn't keep eating apples, berries, and fish. I needed all my strength if I was going to find JJ and defeat the fallen king. But when I arrived in the village, something was wrong. All of the shops had their doors closed and locked, and no one was walking around outside. It was as if they were all hiding in their houses. Hello? Anyone here? But no one answered. Maybe they were scared of me, but why? I was just a friendly turtle, looking to buy some food and ask some questions. Someone opened their door and pushed out one loaf of bread before closing it and locking it again. Oh, that must be for me. Thank you. I took the bread and headed back to my base. As I made my way through the woods, I saw a dark figure standing between the trees. He was wearing black armor with purple horns.
So, this is where you've been hiding.
Who are you?
Don't you know by now? After all, I am the one who took your friend.
The fallen king. What have you done with JJ?
I'll tell you, if you just come with me.
Never! I drew my sword, ready to battle with him, when suddenly a friendly cat jumped out of a tree and landed in front of me.
No, don't do it. He's too strong to take on by yourself.
But he has JJ.
He took my friend too. I'll help you, but if you try now, you'll lose.
As I watched, the fallen king sprouted a pair of purple wings and flew away.
I'll be back.
Then it was just me and the cat. What's your name, kitty?
Bella.
Nice to meet you, Bella. On days 11 to 12, I built another bed in the cabin so Bella could have a place to sleep. I just knew she and JJ were going to get along great once we saved him. Then the two of us went out to gather supplies for the coming battle with the fallen king. She was really good at catching fish and didn't even need a rod to do it. Suddenly, she looked up at something.
Look out!
I turned to see what she was warning me about, and I saw a wither skeleton running toward me with its sword drawn. It hit me, and I fell to the ground, losing hearts. I tried to get up and fight back, but it hit me again, hard. I lost more hearts. Luckily, the wither skeleton didn't follow us, but the damage was done, and I was getting pretty worried. I went back into the mine and looked for anything I could use, and I found some more gold. Perfect! I hurried back home to craft a gold sword and went back out looking for the wither skeleton. It was still by the lake when I got there. This time, I was able to fight back and knock it down. Back at the base, I gave Bella my old sword. Now we're both ready to fight. While I was gone, she planted seeds for wheat and apple trees. When we finally got JJ back, I just knew he was going to love the amazing base we were making together. On days 13 to 15, I was working on the cabin when Bella came and found me.
There's something you need to see.
What is it?
I found a book. I think it's about the fallen king. Take a look.
It looked like it was decades old, and the pages were almost falling out. I picked up the book and started to read. Long ago, there was a greedy king. He was an ordinary man, but his evil heart made him seem more like a monster. All day long, he would steal from his villagers, taking their food, their gold, and even kidnapping people to take to his castle. There, he would force them to compete in challenges for their freedom, trying to see which one was the strongest, the toughest, and the smartest. When he found the winner, he would defeat them in a challenge one-on-one to show that he was the very best in all the land. The people rose up and stormed his castle, rebelling against all the pain and strife he had caused. But the king had a secret plan in place, and just when they thought they had defeated him, he became something else. A shadowy warrior with purple wings and horns. He went into hiding, but promised to one day return to take back the throne once again. When the fallen king returns, only a brave hero, led by the power of goodness and friendship, will be able to stop him. But what did any of that have to do with me?
It's you. You're the hero.
No, I'm just me. I can't defeat some magical king. I just want to get my friend JJ back so we can have fun exploring.
But
forget this. I didn't want to admit it, but I was scared. What if I wasn't strong enough? What if I let everyone down? JJ, Bella, and myself. On days 16 to 19, I woke up and noticed that Bella was gone. And when I looked outside, I saw footprints. Someone must have come to the cabin and taken her, but it didn't look like the work of the fallen king, and I could see snow tracked on the ground that hadn't melted yet. I remembered that there was snow further up in the mountains around the forest. That must be where Bella is. I hiked up the mountain until the whole world around me was as snowy and icy as it could be. It took me 2 whole days to make it, but then I finally saw Bella. She was locked in a cage, guarded by snow nightmares. Bella, what happened?
I managed to escape these guys before I found you, but they must have tracked me down. You have to help me, please.
I'll do my best.
It's not just me either. Look.
I looked. The snow nightmares heard me planning and started closing in on me. I drew my gold sword and started to swing at them. They went down one by one, and suddenly I noticed myself getting bigger. I gained 2 hearts, and I had a total of 12 now. I released Bella from her cage, and together we fought off the rest of the snow nightmares. Then we freed the fox.
Thank you so much. How can I ever repay you?
What do you know about the fallen king? He has my friend, and I have to defeat him. I knew now I could do it if I tried.
I've only heard a little bit, but I know there is supposed to be a legendary potion. The only way to defeat him for good, so he never comes back again.
Do you know where it is?
I'm sorry, I don't. I don't even know for sure if it's real.
And with that, the fox scurried away. But we knew more than we did before, and tomorrow we would start looking for the potion. On days 20 to 22, we made it back to the cabin and found it covered in even more gas. Get out of here, you creeps! I started firing arrows at them with my bow. They scattered before they could do any damage to the base, and Bella and I went inside.
Tell me more about JJ. He sounds pretty special if you're going to all this trouble for him.
He's my best friend. We do everything together. Or we did, before the fallen king's skeletons kidnapped him. But he always knows how to have fun. He's the best at challenges, and he supports me through the good and the bad times.
Maybe we could do something to honor him, to remember what you're fighting for, like build a statue.
That's a great idea. Before I went to gather supplies for the statue, I placed torches all around the perimeter of the base. This should keep any more nasty monsters out. With that long overdue change taken care of, I went to harvest some wood for the great big statue we were going to build of JJ. I found some chickens and harvested their feathers. Back at the cabin, I cleared a whole bunch of grass and blocks to make space for the statue. Then Bella and I got to work building. It was so much easier with Bella there to help. Work always goes by faster when you have a friend lending a hand, or a paw. And hey, by the way, thank you for watching. If you liked the video so far, that would mean the world to me if you subscribed and turned on notifications. That way, you'll be sure to catch my next adventure. Thanks! On days 23 to 26, I was in the cabin when suddenly a skeleton came up to the door. He was wearing full armor and carrying a big, impressive sword. Get out of here, bonehead! I attacked him with my own sword and managed to chase him off. As he ran away, I noticed that he dropped something. It was a shield, a brigand shield to be exact. I decided to test it out. Bella, attack me with your axe.
What?
Just do it. I want to try something. She ran at me with her axe, and the shield protected me. It blocked every single blow. Wow, this thing is amazing. Just as I was preparing to test out my new shield some more, I heard someone rustling around outside the door to the cabin. If that's another skeleton. But when I looked, I saw a cat instead.
Bella, are you here? I heard from the fox that you found a safe place to stay. Kiki, it's you. This is my friend I told you about. How did you get away? I managed to sneak out while the king was busy with something else. Someone named JJ helped distract him.
That's my friend. Was he okay?
He was, but he definitely needs help. But I'm so tired from running for days. Can I stay here, please?
Of course. I let Kiki inside and decided to ask her some more questions tomorrow. On days 27 to 31, I asked Kiki what she might happen to know about a legendary potion, the one that the fox had told us about.
I don't know much about it, but I do know someone who does. A wise old monkey who lives on an island not too far away.
So we'll need to find a boat.
Don't worry. I know someone who will let us borrow his. Come with me.
Kiki and I said goodbye to Bella and left to go get ourselves a boat and travel to see the wise monkey. We borrowed a boat from a kind man with a shop by the ocean and set sail toward the island. After a couple of days at sea though, we suddenly felt something hit the side of the boat, shaking it all over. What was that? I looked over the side of the boat into the water and saw a huge shark ramming itself into the boat. It snapped its teeth at me and tried to bite me. No way, we've got places to be. I shot an arrow at the shark, but I missed. It tried to bite the boat, but I fired another arrow. This time, I hit it. Wounded, the shark swam away and out of sight. I guess these waters are more dangerous than I thought. We'll have to keep an eye out for more trouble. Somehow, I had the feeling we would encounter more danger before we had everything we needed, but it was all worth it to find my friend. On days 32 to 35, we found a hut along the beach surrounded by palm trees full of coconuts. I stopped to pick some coconuts to take back to my base.
Hey, those are my coconuts.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Excuse me, are you Wise Jim?
Who's asking?
I'm Kiki, and this is my friend. We heard you might know something about the legendary Potion of Light.
I might, but how do I know I can trust you?
We're preparing to fight the fallen king. He has my friend, JJ, and we need to rescue him.
So you're looking for the potion, eh?
We all turned around, and there was the fallen king, hovering over the water with his wings spread out wide.
You'll never find it, and you'll never defeat me.
Get ready for a beating, fallen king. We won't let you get away with this.
Oh, really? You and what army? Find me when you're ready. Pathetic.
Then the fallen king turned and left, leaving us looking on angrily. We turned to Wise Jim the monkey. Would you like to come back with us to our base? It should be safer there.
Yes, please. Let me just pack a bag.
And he grabbed as many coconuts and bananas as he could carry.
Okay, now I'm ready.
So with plenty of snacks for the journey, we all boarded the boat together. On days 36 to 39, I had arrived back at the base with Kiki and our new friend, Wise Jim. While he enjoyed some bananas and took in the new view, Kiki, Bella, and me all got to work building a new area for him to stay in. We added a treehouse onto one of the trees just outside the cabin. Here, this is just for you. We hope you like it.
Like it? I love it.
Once he was all settled, I decided to ask him what he knew about the legendary potion, or the Potion of Light.
The Potion of Light. Yes, I've heard many stories about it. I can't say for sure where it is hidden, but I do know that it is buried in an abandoned mineshaft out in the Badlands. But be warned, it is a harsh landscape, and there are no friendly creatures that live there.
The Badlands, huh? Sounds pretty bad. I'll need to make sure I prepare before I go. Before I could leave for the Badlands though, Bella and I needed to work on the next part of the JJ statue. I couldn't help but feel like if I could finish it before I faced off against the fallen king, I would be brave enough to rescue the friend it represented. With the power of friendship on my side, no Badlands monsters, skeletons, or even the fallen king himself could stand in my way. From days 40 to 43, I headed down into the mines to look for some diamonds. I saw Kiki running out of a tunnel, screaming. What's going on?
Spiders! That tunnel is full of spiders!
Did you happen to see any diamonds in there?
I did, but the spiders were crawling around all over them. Yuck! I'm out of here.
Just a couple little spiders? I fought ghasts and skeletons. I can handle spiders. I took a look into the cave and saw the spiders all over the ground. They were pretty big, and I didn't want to get anywhere near them. So I fired an arrow at the spiders from a distance instead. They didn't like that too much, and they swarmed at me. One of them bit me, and it was poisonous. It brought me down to 2 hearts. I had to draw my sword and fight it if I wanted to survive. It was a close call, but I managed to defeat the spiders without breaking my sword or losing any more hearts. I scooped up the diamonds and rushed back to my base with them. There, I used them to craft a diamond axe, diamond sword, and diamond boots. Sparkly and super strong and durable. On days 44 to 49, I journeyed to the Badlands in search of the underground mineshaft where the Potion of Light was hidden. Wow, look at all of this sand, and it's so hot out. I hope I can find the potion fast. I'm already getting thirsty. As I was walking through the sand and looking for some shade to take a quick break in, I suddenly locked eyes with an Enderman. Uh-oh. But then I remembered, I was much stronger than I had been before, and I had all my upgraded gear. This was going to be a snap. After just a few hits, the Enderman went down. I was honestly kind of surprised at how easy it was. Maybe I could take on the fallen king after all. Maybe it wouldn't even be that hard. As I kept walking, I saw more Endermen up ahead, attacking a horse. Hey, leave him alone! But the horse didn't need my help. He took down the Enderman all by himself and then galloped over to me.
Hi, I'm Ed.
I'm Zozo. I'm out here looking for a special potion. Have you heard anything about it?
I found the mineshaft where it was hidden, but it was gone. All that was left was a note saying it had been taken away and hidden somewhere else by the ocean.
Oh, I guess I need to head that way then.
Are you trying to fight the fallen king? Let me help you. Hop on my back, and I'll get you there faster.
So I jumped onto Ed's back, and we rode off into the sunset. On days 50 to 53, I rode on Ed's back all the way to the beach. After how dry and dusty the Badlands were, it was amazing to breathe in that cool sea air. Do you think we could take a break and go swimming, Ed? The water looks great.
Sounds like a swell idea to me.
So we hopped into the water and started splashing around. It was so much fun, and I couldn't wait to splash around with JJ when we finally rescued him. But that would have to wait. We had company. Oh no, it's the shark. That's right, the shark was back, and he looked hungry. He was a super scary enemy before, but that was before I got my diamond sword. Take that, Sharky! With a few strong hits, I was able to turn this shark into sushi, and Ed and I were safe again. Now it was time to look around. Maybe the legendary potion of light was around here somewhere. That's when we found a little cove on the edge of the beach and the friendly ocean nymph that lived there. I asked her about the note telling us we could find the potion of light on the beach, but she told us if the potion was ever here, it's gone now. Bummer! How am I ever going to fight the Fallen King and save my friend JJ? I think the friendly ocean nymph felt bad for me because she gave me a diamond helmet to match my axe, sword, and boots. I'm even tougher now. On days 54 to 57, I decided I needed to beef up the base's security to keep me and my friends safe from the Fallen King. After all, he's attacked us before, he could always do it again. Maybe the base needed a bigger wall, made of stone this time. If I mine enough stone to make a big strong wall, there's no way the Fallen King's forces are gonna get in and kidnap us. So that's exactly what I did. When I'd finished mining the stone and building the wall, I put torches along the top for extra safety. That's when Wise Jim came over.
Hey, I've been whipping up a new enchantment that'll help you defeat the Fallen King. But I need a favor. Some zombies have been hanging around my favorite banana tree. Go scare them off.
That enchantment sounded pretty sweet, so I grabbed my bow and arrow and went after the mob of zombies hanging around Wise Jim's favorite banana tree. I've gotten so strong now, these guys are no challenge for me. I ran in, firing arrow after arrow, until those nasty zombies were running for the hills. I know JJ would have been so proud of me. When I went back to Wise Jim, he gave my diamond sword an unbreakable enchantment, making it stronger and tougher than it had ever been. I bet the Fallen King is shaking in his boots. Don't worry, JJ, I'm almost strong enough to come and save you. On days 58 to 62, things got serious. It all started when I was working on my JJ statue. I think I was about half done, and it was looking great. I needed to make it perfect, so when I rescued JJ and all my new friends got to meet him, he'd be able to see what a good job I did. I was so wrapped up in making the statue perfect, I didn't even notice that some of the Fallen King's scariest goons were on their way. A gang of skeletons in full diamond armor with diamond swords.
This has gone on far enough. The Fallen King has sent us to crack your shell, destroy your base, and leave nothing standing. Give up or face our wrath.
But there was no way I was going to give in. I told Bella and Kiki to hold inside the base and make sure nobody got in, while Wise Jim and I took on the diamond skeletons.
Let's show these boneheads who's boss.
But the fight was way harder than we thought. The Fallen King must have sent some of his best men, because as we fought, they just wouldn't go down. Thankfully, Wise Jim and I fought hard enough to defeat some of the diamond skeletons and send the rest running. We were just about to celebrate when one of the fleeing skeletons fired an arrow from the woods and hit Wise Jim. No! I tried to help, but it was already too late. Wise Jim was gone. On day 63 to 66, I chased the diamond skeleton into the deep dark forest as he ran away. He destroyed Wise Jim, and I needed to avenge him. There was no way I'd let them escape, no matter how spooky the deep forest got. Get back here. You wanna fight? Let's fight! I backed him into a corner and threatened him with my unbreakable diamond sword. Tell me, where can I find the legendary potion of light?
You'll never get it. It's being guarded by one of the Fallen King's strongest warriors at the bottom of the King's Royal Gold Mine. And besides, you're not leaving this forest alive.
That's when the other surviving diamond skeletons came out of the woods around me. Oh no, this whole thing was a trap. They were trying to lure me away from the base this whole time. This is for you, Wise Jim. I'll never forget you. That's when I fought the strongest I ever fought and defeated all of the skeletons except one, who was shaking with fear. Thankfully, he could still be useful to me. Tell me, where can I find the Fallen King's Royal Gold Mine? On day 67 to 70, using the last diamond skeleton's instructions, I made my way to the Fallen King's Royal Gold Mine. It was huge and horrible. Villagers that the Fallen King had kidnapped were being forced to mine gold for him, or they'd be attacked by some of his skeleton warriors. Don't worry, guys, I'm gonna get you out of here. Who's the boss around these parts? The captured villagers told me to travel further into the mine, where I'd meet one of the Fallen King's strongest warriors, Dorzen, the Soul Eater. A huge red monster with a scary smile and a fist made of stone. He was so tough, even my diamond sword would have trouble hurting him. He was waiting next to a pit filled with lava. It isn't too late to give up, Dorzen. Tell me where to find the potion of light and let all these villagers go, and I won't have to hurt you. But Dorzen wasn't interested in talking this out. I don't even know if he could talk. He just attacked me and managed to take all of my hits while beating me again and again. He was for sure the toughest enemy I'd ever faced. It was such a big mistake to come here alone. Just as Dorzen was about to throw me into the lava pit, Ed the horse charged in.
Get away from my friend, you monster!
Ed charged right into Dorzen and knocked him over into the magma pit. Dorzen got burned and ran off. He'd probably think twice about messing with us again. Thanks for the save, Ed. On days 71 to 74, Ed and I searched through the mine to find where Dorzen may have been hiding the legendary potion of light. Ed was still grateful for me defeating the shark that attacked us on the beach, so he was more than happy to help me rescue JJ from the fallen king. Eventually, after mining through some stone, we found a secret door that led into Dorzon the Soul Eater's lair. Talk about spooky! The place was dark, lit only by a few little torches, and scary-looking weapons on racks over the walls. There were even a few villagers locked up in a cage. We let them out, of course, along with all the others. But no matter how hard we looked, we couldn't find the potion of light. It didn't make sense. That skeleton told me Dorzon was hiding it in the fallen king's royal gold mine.
Look, I found a note.
What does it say, Ed?
I don't know. Horses can't read.
He was right, so I took a look at the note. It came directly from the fallen king. It said,
Well, well, well. It looks like you found your way into my mind. Exactly as I expected. You're an impressive one. I can see why JJ talks about you all the time. If you care about him, I suggest you stop looking, or both of you are going to get hurt.
Rats! Looks like the fallen king was always one step ahead. On days 75 to 78, I headed back to the base to build some improvements and think about what I'd learned. After Wise Jim died, I was worried about Bella and Kiki, and I realized that if more of the fallen king's army attacked, they needed a safe place to hide. I added an iron safe room to the inside of the base with a secure door and torches to ward off mobs. If someone attacked, they could hide in there while I fought off the bad guys. I had also taken some gold from the fallen king's gold mine and turned it into a chest plate and some leggings. That's when Dorzon the Soul Eater returned, and Bella and Kiki ran off to hide in the new safe room. It was time for me and Dorzon to finish this. He was tough, even with his lava burns, but with my new armor, I was able to get an edge and defeat him for good. Dorzon won't be eating any more souls. And for defeating such an evil monster, I got upgraded. I was bigger, stronger, faster, and my shell was tougher than ever. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see the fallen king take me on now. That's when I noticed that Dorzon had dropped a note I was never meant to see, directly from the fallen king. It read,
Once you've captured Zozo, take him to my mountain castle. My other operative will meet you there.
And now he's gonna be meeting me. On days 79 to 84, I traveled alone to the Fallen King's mountain castle, where Dorzen was going to meet another one of the Fallen King's goons. Surely this guy would be able to direct me to the king himself. But when I finally arrived at the castle, after 2 days of mountain climbing, I didn't find any monsters waiting for me. I turned to see a Viking named Bjorn walking up behind me, carrying a diamond axe.
Hello, my friend. I see you too are seeking the fallen king. He kidnapped one of my friends too. Maybe we can work together.
That's a great idea. Let's do it. You can help me free my friend JJ, and I can help you free yours. Wait, how did you find out about this mountain castle, Bjorn?
Good question.
That's when Bjorn suddenly attacked me with his diamond axe. Thankfully, with my upgraded shell and full set of armor, he couldn't do too much damage. I pulled out my diamond sword and hit him until he gave up and dropped his weapon. Bjorn was the Fallen King's other goon all along. Okay, Bjorn, if that is your real name, tell me where I can find the Fallen King.
It is my real name, and the Fallen King's true base is in the Dread Palace, in the volcanic magma fields.
But that's one of the most dangerous places on the map. How could anyone live there?
The Fallen King is undefeatable. He can live anywhere he likes. And if you think you can just waltz in there and defeat him, then you've got a death wish, kid.
On days 85 to 89, I made my way back to my base, feeling more doubtful than ever. Sure, I had a cool sword and a tough shell, but what's that worth compared to the Fallen King and his army of evil? What if there was no way for me to save JJ, and he just ended up being forced to mine gold for an evil king in a palace full of lava? I felt so down about all this that I decided to just go to bed. That's when Bella came and woke me up. She had some words of encouragement for me.
Don't you remember the story? You're the hero who's destined to defeat the Fallen King.
Maybe the story is wrong, Bella. He's so much more powerful than I thought. Even some of his foot soldiers were able to beat Wise Jim. How can I beat him? That's when Bella had a genius idea.
maybe you can use your natural skills against him. You're a turtle. You have a tough shell. Maybe you don't need armor.
But why would I fight without armor?
Isn't it obvious? The Fallen King wears a huge set of heavy armor. It's tough, but it slows him down. If you go in there without your armor, you'll still be tough because of your shell, but you'll be able to run circles around the Fallen King. Maybe that's the edge you need.
It was a wild idea. So wild, it just might work. On days 90 to 94, I prepared for the final battle against the Fallen King and to rescue JJ. I removed my armor, just like Bella said. I was so much faster. I bet the Fallen King could never be this fast. I bet I can leave that meanie in the dust. But if I'm relying on my natural defenses, I'm gonna need to make sure I've got one heck of an attack. I needed to gather the material to upgrade my diamond sword and my bow. Enough that even the Fallen King and his strongest minions won't stand a chance. First, the sword. Using some of the knowledge from the books Wise Jim kept in his treehouse, I gave my unbreakable sword 3 more enchantments. Sharpness, which increases damage. Knockback, which knocks my enemies back when I hit them. And finally, Fire Aspect, which sets my enemies on fire when I hit them directly. I can't wait to show JJ this awesome sword when I rescue him. Next, I upgraded my bow. Just like my sword, I gave it extra power, which makes it do even more damage. Then I gave it knockback so I could stun my enemies and knock them off their feet. And of course, flame, so my arrows will set my enemies on fire, just like my sword. Ha! The Fallen King isn't going to know what hit him. Hang in there, JJ. I'm gonna defeat the king, save you, and set everybody free. Believe it. On days 95 to 97, I started to get nervous. Sure, I was a lot stronger and faster and had way more powerful weapons than I used to, but every time I'd faced the Fallen King before, he was so scary, I needed to run away rather than defeat him. What if he's got even more tricks up his sleeve? No, I can't think like this. I can't let him get into my head. This is just what he wants. To try and calm my nerves, I decided to finally finish my JJ statue. Even if I was too weak to take down the Fallen King and save my friend from his clutches, I'd have this statue to remember him by. But when I actually finished the statue, everything changed. I realized it'd been the first time in almost 100 days that I'd seen JJ. But this wasn't JJ, it was just a statue. It couldn't talk to me, play games with me, do fun Minecraft challenges with me. It couldn't do anything that JJ could do with me. It could just sit there and remind me that he's gone. That's it. I can't afford to be a coward. Even if I'm afraid, even if I'm in danger, it's worth the risk to get JJ back. I know I'm strong enough to do this. It's time to take the Fallen King down. And when JJ is here again, he's going to see this awesome statue that I made for him. There's just one more thing that I need to do first. On day 98, I spoke to my friends at the base, Bella, Kiki, and Ed the horse. I told them that I was going to go to the Dread Palace, take on the Fallen King, and get JJ back.
I want to come too.
Yeah, let me tag along. Let's take down this evil guy.
No! Kiki, Ed, you've put yourself in too much danger already. You two hang back and stay in the safe room. We've known each other the longest. We started this, so we'll finish this.
Nobody can disagree with that. The two of us took the time to discuss a battle plan before we set off. After all, the Fallen King had always been one step ahead, so we needed to make sure that we would be 2 steps ahead if we wanted to beat him. And with that, we were ready to set off. Anything else you want to say? Seeing as this might be the last time we see each other, if this goes badly and the Fallen King captures us.
Good luck.
And make sure to subscribe to Zozo. Z-O-Z-O. We've got even more crazy, wild, and exciting adventures to come, where our hero fights diabolical villains, makes awesome bases and weapons, and meets more interesting friends like us.
All of us agreed, and with that, Bella and I set off for the Dread Palace. On day 99, the assault on the Dread Palace finally began. Just as we expected, the Fallen King had the place heavily guarded. A bunch of diamond-armored skeleton warriors were assembled outside the front gate. But it's okay, we planned for this. Good luck, Bella, I believe in you. The first stage in the plan was simple. Bella would go in first with her cat speed and agility and distract the first wave of guards. With the skeleton army drawn away from the front gate, it was time for me to storm in and take charge. But of course, it wasn't that easy. In the opening hallway of the Dread Palace, the Fallen King had built in trapdoors that dropped down into pits full of molten lava. Yikes! Thankfully, I was able to dodge the trapdoors and keep going. But it wasn't over yet, not by a long shot. Once I made it past the first few hallways, the Fallen King deployed another one of his deadly minions, the Behemoth, a huge, extremely powerful monster. I needed to be careful. Even a couple hits from a monster like that would destroy me. But because I was only wearing my natural armor, just like Bella and I had planned, I could run circles around him. I hit him several times with my fully upgraded sword, setting him on fire and knocking him down for good. Is that the best you got, Fallen King? Maybe I underestimated you. Hey, over here! I recognized that voice. It was JJ. I'd finally found him. No time to waste. I ran over to the cell the Fallen King was keeping my best friend in and set him free. I was so excited to be hanging out with him again, but we weren't done yet. I told him to head back to our base. I have some unfinished business to take care of. On day 100, with JJ saved, I needed to make sure he and everyone else was never captured again. I needed to fight and defeat the Fallen King once and for all. I ran deeper into the Dread Palace, sword and bow ready to take on anything I saw. First, more diamond-armored skeletons, which I was able to take out with a quick volley of arrows. Bam! 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 They ran away, screaming and on fire. Then, a Behemoth and Soul Eater tag team emerged from the dark as I got even closer to the throne room. These guys would have seemed tough a while back, but after what I'd been through, nothing could stop me. I pulled out my enchanted diamond sword and went to work, sending them burning and running just like the skeletons. I felt unstoppable until I reached the throne room. There stood the Fallen King, and it looked like this whole time he was waiting for me.
At long last, you're here. You've been a thorn in my side for too long. Now I'm going to destroy you personally. Are you ready to see true power?
Rather than replying, I shot the Fallen King with a bunch of super-powered arrows, but all that seemed to do was make him laugh. But that's when he got really scary. The Fallen King unleashed his true form, growing larger and more powerful than he'd ever been before. I couldn't fight him like this. I needed to run. I kept running down the hallway as this giant, terrifying version of the Fallen King left the throne room and chased me.
You can't run forever. You're mine now.
I ducked into the Fallen King's supply room, closed the door, and began building a brick wall in front of it. But that wouldn't hold him for long. He was already starting to smash his way through it. Think! But that's when I saw it. Sitting on the shelf, the legendary Potion of Light. Wasting no time, I grabbed and took the potion. That's when everything changed. I grew to the same size as the Fallen King. My hearts and armor literally doubled. I was faster, stronger, and even had the power of light on my side to go against the Fallen King's darkness. When he breached the wall, the battle was on. I attacked him relentlessly, dodging his attacks and striking back at him. Just like Bella said, even in his upgraded state, his heavy armor slowed him down. He couldn't stop me from getting him.
Curse you! Curse you!
I struck him one more time with my burning sword, and the fire consumed him. The Fallen King was no more, and everyone he'd captured was free. When I finally returned to the base, I saw that JJ and Bella had returned safely and were hanging out with Ed and Kiki next to the statue I made. Hey, is that supposed to be me? On day 1, I spawned in as Distorted Alex. Only 4 hearts? I should stay out of trouble with health like that, especially since I'm Distorted Alex, creepypasta legend, and enemy to players and villagers everywhere. Luckily, I had the power to turn invisible. Now you see me, now you don't. Time to scare some villagers. But hey, where is everyone? I started sneaking around the village, but it looks like all the villagers are gone, except for one. Hello? Wait a second, that's not a villager, that's an illager, and it looks like it wants to get me. I turned invisible and ran inside a nearby house. I turned around and saw that I wasn't alone in there though. There was a hungry wolf with me. He must be able to smell me, even though I'm invisible. I tried to escape, but the wolf kept following me. I ran out of the house and looked for another one to hide in. I found one, but there wasn't a door. Luckily, there was a chest at the top, and I managed to block the entrance with a wooden block. I'm gonna stay inside this house until morning so the illager and the dog won't find me. Maybe I'll be able to find out what happened to the other villagers tomorrow, since what good is it being Distorted Alex if I can't sneak up on people? On day 2, I opened a treasure chest inside the house and found some cobblestone and wood, which I used to make a shovel and an axe. I was ready to use the axe on the wolf, but after I had removed the wood blocking the entrance, I could see that the wolf was gone. It looked like there was also a basement level to this house, so I went down. Oh no, is that another wolf? Luckily, it wasn't a wolf this time. It was a friendly dog.
You're not my master.
No, I'm not. But what happened to your village? It doesn't look like anyone is here anymore.
Those illagers took all the villagers away a few days ago. They had wolves with them too, and I had to hide down here to get away from them.
Where did they take them?
Over the hills, to the north of here. You look scary, but would you be willing to help me? Please? Please rescue my master.
I know that I was supposed to be Distorted Alex, but how can you say no to a puppy dog? Looks like they needed a hero, even one that looks like a creepy version of Alex. Okay, I'll do my best. I looked around the basement and found an iron sword hanging on the wall. Finally, a weapon. Just then, I noticed I was feeling pretty hungry. I took a look inside the sacks and barrels, but they were all empty. The dog sniffed around and pointed to a barrel. I took a look inside and found some baked potatoes among a bunch of other food. I could tell the dog was hungry too, so I tossed some food out to him.
Ugh, I don't eat this. I need some bones or meat.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't worry, we'll find something for you soon. On day 3, I decided to dig a cave beneath the basement to see if I can find any more materials down there. But to do that, I needed to craft a pickaxe. I put out the fire, then got to work crafting a pickaxe. I'll even give one to the dog so he can help me mine. We dug a little too far though and got attacked by a lurker. Get to safety, dog, I'll handle this. I turned invisible and snuck up on the lurker, using my sword to bring it down. Looks like defeating that mob brought me up to 6 hearts. Awesome! This cave isn't actually all that dangerous. I think I'll make it my underground base. On days 4 to 5, I went outside and noticed that after my level up, I can also warp short distances. Awesome! I started gathering wood from the surrounding trees. I used my warp a few times to get up the tree and reach all the logs, and even to cross a river and a ravine. I started heading back, but oh no, it's that illager again. He must be patrolling the area around the village. I warped out of sight and turned invisible so I could listen to him talking without being detected.
Thought I saw another pathetic villager to capture and bring to the redstone mines, but I guess not.
So it is true, the illagers were the ones who took everyone away. I guess it figures that all of them didn't just leave on their own. But now how am I supposed to live up to my legend? I'm supposed to be the one who makes all the villagers run away from the village. They're supposed to be scared of me, not these lamos. I couldn't let them take any more people. He was no match for me now that I was stronger. I was able to hit him hard and take him out quickly. On days 6 to 8, I first improved my base in the cave. After that, I mined so much stone from the underground that I could craft a suit of stone armor to protect me. But first, I needed to craft the cobblestone into cobblestone nuggets, which I smelt into cobblestone ingots, and then crafted those into the armor. I dug down even deeper into the mine and took on some cave spiders. Take that! You spiders think you can be scarier than me? I'm Distorted Alex, the best creepypasta around. My armor and sword were both really great, but when 3 cave spiders with poison take you down to half a heart, it's no fun. I looked around but could only find coal, so I grabbed some. This place is scary though, and I swear I hear some creepy sounds. I'm going invisible. Oh, right, when I'm invisible, I need to take my armor off. Now let's get out of here, don't want to risk getting hurt. On days 9 to 10, I went to the nearby hills in order to search for those redstone mines that I had heard the illager talking about. All the real villagers, including the dog's human, were probably there right now, and they needed my help. Of course, they don't know that I'm creepypasta yet, but we'll cross that scary bridge over a scary river when we get to it. For now, it was time to find out what I was up against. I showed up to an area where a lot of redstone was being hauled out of a cave in a minecart. This must be the place. There's also this huge green guy with a giant sword.
All the redstone will belong to me, the Great Crushmore.
He was no joke. I better not mess with him. Good thing I could sneak inside the mine with my invisibility. Maybe I'll be able to scare Crushmore later, once I level up more. Just as I suspected, a bunch of villagers were being forced to mine redstone non-stop. I like redstone as much as the next player, but there are limits, man. Haven't you ever heard of the phrase, mind your own business? Whoa, Crushmore even captured a shopkeeper. I decided to reveal myself to the shopkeeper. Hello, Mr. Shopkeeper. My name is Zozo, and I'm looking for the owner of a nice dog.
My dog is okay? Thank goodness.
He's waiting for you back at the village. Come with me, I can sneak us out of here.
I'll only go if you agree to help the rest of the villagers. Crushmore is making us mine every day without any breaks. He needs to be stopped.
Deal. What else could I say? We started to sneak out of the cave, but he spotted us. Let's get out of here. On days 11 to 12, I fixed up the house so that the shopkeeper could move back in with his dog. He gave me some health potions and agreed to let me keep expanding the basement as long as I defeated any mobs that came in. I found a troll in the mine, and my iron sword couldn't do anything to it. It just kept healing. I had to drink one of my health potions. What are trolls weak against anyway? Maybe I need something that damages quicker than it can heal. Fire could do the job. I gathered more wood and crafted some torches. Then I noticed I had no armor equipped. The next time I see the troll, I'll be able to light it up. Ha! Sick burn. And I'll make sure to wear some armor this time too. I went back to the troll and used the torch to light him on fire. Looks like fire attacks are super effective. I should stock up on flint and steel as well. That way I can use fire whenever I need to. Distorted Alex can burn down buildings, right? I guess I might as well embrace it. I started to find iron and other metals in the mine, so soon I'd be able to craft steel and upgrade my armor. I crafted an iron chestplate, iron boots, iron shovel, and iron pickaxe, and had to go grab one last piece of iron for the flint and steel. It'd be nice to get a new weapon, too. On days 13 to 15, I was at the base when the shopkeeper decided to tell me what happened when the villagers were taken away.
We were always worried about Crushmore. For a long time, he made us give him all the redstone we had, or else. Some of our people didn't want to give up their own redstone, so they became outcasts from us. Those were the Illagers. We never could have imagined that they'd team up with Crushmore and bully us into doing their dirty work. Now everyone is trapped in those redstone mines, and the village will be empty until somebody does something about it.
How terrible! Won't you do something, Zozo?
I thought about it, and then I gave my answer. The truth is, I'm an outcast myself. I'm not saying what the Illagers did was right, but I totally understand not wanting to give away their materials. You're all scared of Crushmore, and so am I. Sorry, but there's nothing I can do. It felt really weird to admit that I was scared, but I had never seen a boss as strong as Crushmore. He was probably close to 100 times as scary as me, and I was supposed to be the creepypasta character around here. That doesn't seem right. The shopkeeper and his dog were saddened by this, but what I had said was the truth. On days 16 to 19, I left the empty village and left my base behind to go find the materials to make a better weapon in the mountains. Crushmore would come looking for the shopkeeper and his dog eventually, and with all the Illagers he already had on his side, he'd be totally unstoppable. I saw some light at the top of the mountain. That's the way! I climbed up the snowy mountain slopes, but at some point it got too steep. It looked like my only option was to swim up a small waterfall. Oh man, this is freezing! I soon made it to the top, but there were more trolls here. It was time to put that flint and steel to good use. I made several fires, which scared them off. Then I found an ice cave, but it was guarded by more trolls. No worries, I got this. I set part of the cave on fire, and the trolls fled. At the back of the cave, on a stone pedestal, I found a frosted sword with sharpness 3. It was made of enchanted ice that was 10 times as strong as normal. I started to think about the way I had left things with the shopkeeper and his dog, and realized that I had been a little rude. I mean, just because Distorted Alex doesn't usually help people in need doesn't mean I should ever do it. Sometimes you gotta be the hero, even if it goes against what you had planned. That's just the right thing to do. Besides, I already promised I would help save the other villagers from the redstone mine, and a promise is a promise. I began to make my way back down the mountain when I saw a llama struggling near the edge of the cliff.
Help me, please! I'm gonna fall!
I ran over and offered the llama a hand. No way am I going to let an innocent creature get hurt. It was almost too late, and she started to fall, but I warped again and caught the llama in midair, then I warped back onto solid ground. Whoa, I had never warped that many times in a row before. Then I noticed that my powers of warping and distorting myself were causing me to grow. I was bigger now, and I also had 10 hearts. I'm getting scarier every day. I can't wait to see what I look like at even higher levels.
Thank you for saving me, new friend. My name is Becca.
What were you doing out here, Becca?
I heard that the villagers in this area were being oppressed by an evil brute named Crushmore, so I'm searching for a powerful golem that might be able to defeat him.
Why would a llama be so concerned about human villagers?
Hey, just because we're different doesn't mean I have to stay out of it. I want to help everyone.
Hard to argue with that logic. Now that I had thought about it, I realized my reason for why I've been helping out is kind of the same as her. I guess Becca isn't too different from me. Well, other than me being a creepypasta and her being a talking llama, but otherwise, we're basically the same.
Legend has it that the golem is hidden somewhere near these mountains, waiting for a hero with pure intentions to awaken it.
I don't know if I'm that hero yet, but this golem does sound really promising. On days 20 to 22, I returned to the village to find that 3 Illagers had been trying to break into the shopkeeper's house. It's a good thing I built that door. They all had crossbows, but fortunately my warp ability could take me right into close range. After that, I made short work of them with my ice-frosted sword. I think I'll build a giant statue right in the middle of the village, but for that, I need to get some sheep. That way, the villagers will have something cool to look at once they're all rescued. I also added a base extension to the shopkeeper's house. I needed to give the villagers a reason to stay in the village long enough so that I can really give them all a good scare later on. I started gathering materials, breaking through a wall in the basement mine to find a huge cavern full of dazzling emeralds. Wow, these will look great on the statue, and I bet there's a lot of other great materials in here too. Next, I got some more iron to make some shears for the wool. What kind of statue do you think I'm building? Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of my awesome adventures. Or just search for Zozo. Spell it with me, Z-O-Z-O. On days 23 to 26, I defended the base from more of the illagers sent by Crushmore. Boy, you guys are persistent. My warping power was so much stronger now that I could warp any weak mob I touched high up into the air and watch them fall to their defeat. I dropped them all, and one of them dropped a bow and some fire arrows, along with 2 diamonds. As if I wasn't enough of a menace to trolls already. I tried using the bow, but it didn't work. But that's what I can use the diamonds for. I need to get flame on my bow first, so I'll need to enchant it. I went to the ocean and mined some lapis lazuli stones for the enchantment process. All that was left was to gather the materials for fire enchanting. I also met a new friend while I was out near the ocean.
How you doing? I'm Tuttle, the turtle.
I told the turtle I needed to make an enchantment table, and the turtle gave me 4 obsidian for it. You're such a cool dude. Why don't you come with me and live at my base? I returned to the base and enchanted the bow with a flaming enchanted book. Then I named the bow Firestarter. Now I can use those arrows with the fire enchantment. Hopefully I don't run out, otherwise I'll need to craft more and get some fire charges. I created a pond back at the base so that Tuttle could live there. Turtles love the water after all.
We also love powerful defenses, Zozo. Make sure your base has got walls on every side and locks on the gates.
Thanks, Tuttle, but I'm the one who is supposed to do the narration. On days 27 to 31, I decided that I wanted to explore near the ice cave again. I was out gathering materials in the mountains when I ran into Becca. Hi, Becca.
Hi, Zozo. I think I found the entrance to a dungeon where the legendary golem can be found. It'll be treacherous, but we should definitely go there.
I followed Becca across a slippery mountain path until we came to a giant stone bridge over a valley. On the other side of the bridge was a huge silver door. Now I've heard of knowing how to make an entrance, but this is ridiculous. What was even more ridiculous was that it was guarded by a rock. Becca was too afraid to get close to that thing, so I bravely approached the rock instead. Hey, wait a minute. How come I'm the one who has to make my friends less afraid all of a sudden? This totally wasn't what I signed up for. Oh well, maybe I can settle for scaring this bird away. Though, I still don't want to be that rude about it. Maybe I'll just ask nicely? Can we go through that door, please?
Absolutely not. I've been ordered to guard this door by Crushmore himself.
The rock swooped down on me, but I was able to warp out of the way and turn invisible.
Where are you hiding?
Right here. After some fast moves and quick thinking, I managed to win the fight.
No fair. I'll remember this.
Becca and I then did everything we could to open the silver door, but nothing seemed to do the trick. We tried using a lever, torches, setting it on fire, and shooting flaming arrows. Nothing worked. We'd have to figure something else out later. On days 32 to 35, Becca and I found a small cabin nearby where we could stay, and it turned out that a few villagers who had escaped from Crushmore were living here now.
That bird must have been here to make sure nobody could go into the dungeon.
And we still don't have a way to open the door. Just then, the walls of the cabin came crashing down. Or should I say, crushing down? No? Crushmore was here, and he seemed mad.
Get back to the mines and find me more redstone.
The villagers were scared, so I decided that I'd lure Crushmore away. Hey you, follow me! I ran as far and as fast as I could across the mountain, keeping ahead of Crushmore as best as I could. Then I saw it, a blizzard. That's the perfect place to lose him. I turned invisible and vanished into the snow, making my way back to the escaped villagers. Chill out, everyone. No pun intended. Come back to my base, and you can have your old homes back. On days 36 to 39, I made sure that all the villagers that had returned with me got bigger houses with crafting tables and anvils. Now there would be enough weapons and armor for all of them. Now if the illagers came back for them, they wouldn't go without a fight. I showed the villagers their houses, and they moved in. They seemed really grateful. I asked Tuttle if he knew anything about how we could open the silver door in the mountains.
Oh, so just because I'm a turtle, that means I know everything? Well, I do know this. That silver door is only going to open for a silver key, and the only place you can find one is in the Sea King's palace.
That's actually really helpful. Thanks, Tuttle.
Don't mention it, Zozo.
I decided to do some more work on the statue before I left the base again. What do you think of it so far? On days 40 to 43, one of the villagers noticed that I was using a bow with fire enchantments and told me of a chest deep in the woods where an enchanted book of fire aspect had been placed. The chest was guarded by a fearsome fire salamander that would burn anyone who approached, but I had to take the risk. My fire arrows were some of the best weapons I had, and I wanted to improve them even more. As I wandered through the woods, I found the salamander. I was worried if I used my frosted sword it would melt, so I switched back to my trusty old iron sword. I circled around it, using my warp abilities to jump away from its blasts of fire. It was a rough fight. I had to drink a health potion and warp away to safety many times. I also shot some arrows, but they didn't seem very effective. I warped and slashed until finally the salamander was defeated. I decided I'd upgrade my iron sword to a steel one and give it the new and improved fire enchantment. Behold, my flaming steel sword. On days 44 to 49, I crafted a wooden boat and set off for an ocean voyage. Tuttle had mentioned that the Sea King's palace would have the silver key I would need to open the silver door, so I kept a close eye on the horizon in search of the palace. A giant squid attacked me out of nowhere, but fortunately, I was able to snipe it from a distance with my fire arrows. Fried calamari, anyone? Then I heard a voice among the waves.
I can't swim! Save me!
I went towards the voice and found a man with a crown who was thrashing in the water. I pulled him onto the boat so that he wouldn't be in trouble anymore.
Thank you. I will reward you greatly for saving my life. I am SkeleKing after all.
How come you're the Sea King, but you can't swim?
That's not important. What is important is that a giant bird has taken over my palace and threw me into the ocean.
A giant bird? Could it be? On days 50 to 53, I sailed onward until I found the Sea King's palace. Or I guess right now it's the giant bird's palace. I left the boat at the dock and made my way inside the beautiful lapis lazuli palace. The Sea King chose to remain at the shore for his own safety. I went into the throne room and saw the bird perched on the throne. You're the bird who is guarding the door.
And you're that invisible snake who thought he defeated me. This time, I will show you no mercy.
I'm not just any sneak, I'm Distorted Alex. Bring it on, bird brain. I drew my fire sword and warped into battle. The rock was still as tough as ever, but it wasn't prepared to face my new enchantments. After I defeated the bird, I took a look around the palace and soon found the silver key. It was being guarded by 2 warriors in lapis lazuli armor. Hi, I'm Zozo. I just defeated the evil bird. Can I have your silver key? The warrior shrugged. I guess it's okay then. I left the palace only to find that the Sea King was gone, along with my boat. On days 54 to 57, I made my way home on foot. On the way, I took out some chickens and grabbed the feathers to craft some arrows. And luckily, I found a bunch of iron as well. I mined it right up. I returned to my base at the village and used some of the feathers and fire charges to make some flaming arrows. I also crafted an enchanted suit of steel armor. Now I had defenses for days. Looking cool, Zozo. Thanks, Tuttle.
Hey, Zozo. I'm planning on opening my shop back up, but I need a few more rare goods from the forest before I can do that.
No problem, shopkeeper. I'll go get some rare materials for you in the surrounding area.
You're the best. I'll be especially happy if you can find me the ingredients for shrimp fried rice.
I first went into the forest to see if I could find some materials there, and I stumbled upon a pixie hovel. There were a ton of pixies, and they were a feisty little bunch. They flew at me and gave me some debuffs like bad luck and slowness. But what really annoyed me was that they were laughing at me. Rude. Then they started stealing my items. That's it. Enough is enough. I grabbed 2 empty jars that were lying on the ground and caught a couple of pixies in them. Ha! Who's laughing now? I then grabbed all the pixie dust laying around and decided I might as well take their homes. I continued on and spotted a loose Nagafang just laying on the ground. Oh, this could come in handy too. On the way to the ocean, I also grabbed some wild rice growing by the water. It was a good thing that all my time exploring the ocean let me know where to find some shrimp, so I gathered those too. I returned to the shopkeeper and gave him some of the wild rice and shrimp. He looked happier than I've ever seen him before. He took all of the ingredients and started to cook up the shrimp fried rice right in front of me. It looked like it turned out great. It must have tasted really good too, since the shopkeeper was so happy that he went inside his shop and came out with a diamond pickaxe. Is this for me? Thanks! On days 58 to 62, I was making solid progress on the base's statue when I heard the villagers start to panic. The walls of the base were being destroyed by a group of giant octopuses. It seems strange since aquatic mobs like that usually don't show up this far inland. They must have some kind of magic protecting them. Who could be behind this? I fought off the giant squids only to see the Sea King standing outside the base, holding an enchanted silver spear. Sea King, are you here to help?
No, Zozo. You stole my silver key, so I'm going to destroy you and your base.
You don't understand. I need the silver key to open the dungeon door. I'll give it back after, I promise.
Save your promises. This is war. You may have defeated those squids, but I'll be back with more and will end you.
He ran away, and I didn't want to run after him. Even if I'm doing the right thing, I'm still an outcast, and now I was at war with one of the people I wanted to help. This was messed up. Unfortunately, while I was talking with the king, some other octopuses that I must have missed set fire to the village, damaging it. Ah, come on, guys. On days 63 to 66, I sailed back to the Sea King's palace in the hopes that I could speak with him and get him to agree to a truce. I didn't want any more sea creatures showing up and damaging things. I walked into the throne room, passing a bunch of scary guards. I didn't have any of my weapons equipped to show that I didn't mean him any harm. The Sea King was sitting on his throne, waiting for me.
Have you come to beg for my forgiveness?
Yes and no. I don't want to have a war, but I'm also asking to let me use the silver key just once. If we don't get to the golem, we'll never be able to defeat Crushmore and save the rest of the villagers.
Don't you see that it's pointless? I tried the key on that door long ago, and it never opened for me.
You did?
The legend says that a hero must find the golem. If I'm not worthy, nobody is.
What if I'm worthy?
Enough talk. Let's settle this one-on-one.
The Sea King attacked me with a spear. I had no choice but to fight back and battle the Sea King. As we fought, the guards started jumping in excitement. They must love watching a good fight. It happened so fast, but in the end, he was defeated. I guess there wouldn't be a war, but this wasn't how I wanted it to end. On days 67 to 70, I journeyed back to the Silver Door with the silver key in my inventory. I figured it was now or never if I was going to prove my worthiness and enter the dungeon. As I walked across the bridge, I heard a terrifying roar from underneath the bridge. It was a Remobra. The wyvern flew down in front of me and blocked my path.
I am Poison Wing. You will never survive my poison.
He wanted to prove that to me straight away and spat a glob of poison at me. It was too fast for me to warp out of the way. My speed was slowed and my health started to drop. I fired arrows at Poison Wing, but he kept flying around the bridge and avoiding them. At this rate, it seemed like he was just biding his time so the poison would get me. If I tried warping into melee range, I'd just end up falling and having to warp back to the bridge. Time was running out. The poison almost had me.
Zozo, quick, drink this.
It was Becca, and she had brought antidotes to help me overcome the poison.
Meddling llama.
Poison Wing bellowed, and because he was enraged, he swooped in to attack us. I stepped in front of Becca and slashed at him with my fire sword. Poison Wing was trying to get to my friend, but I would never let him through. After taking several hits, Poison Wing flew off. He was wounded, but not fatally.
Poison Wing will be back and will bring others with him. Quickly, Zozo, we have to get inside that door.
We ran over to the door and placed the key in the lock. To my surprise, it worked, and we were able to enter the dungeon. On days 71 to 74, we traveled through the depths of the dungeon. We encountered a horde of trolls, but thanks to my enchantments, they weren't much of a threat. Take that, and this! Then we came to the place where the golem was supposed to have rested. But there was nothing there.
I don't understand. Why isn't there a golem?
I don't know, but Poison Wing will be back soon. We have to leave. On day 75 to 78, I repaired the parts of the base and the village that had been damaged in the war with the Sea King. I made sure everyone's home was 5 stories tall and had wooden bridges on the roof so the villagers could visit each other. Tuttle then came over and gave me some new, stronger materials that only the oldest turtles knew about, and I was able to create my ultimate suit of armor. Then she gave me a potion. I guess they are friends with Becca, and the turtle figured I might need another potion. Just in time, too, because Poison Wing flew into the base from up above.
Crushmore has grown tired of waiting, Zozo. Give back those villagers, or I will poison them all.
He shot his poison at me, but this time, I was ready. I immediately drank one of Becca's antidotes and was ready to take the fight to the Remobra himself. I warped above him, but that was a fake out. When Poison Wing dodged, I warped again, right into his path. I hit him with a powerful attack and finished him off. Wow, I've got 16 hearts, and it looks like I can warp really far now. Now that I've beaten Poison Wing, maybe I can go back to the mountain dungeon and see if I missed anything. On day 79 to 84, I searched behind the silver door again and couldn't find anything in the entire dungeon that could tell me where the golem went. So much for that. I was about to leave when I ran into a man who looked a lot like the Sea King, but older. He seemed sad, but at least it didn't look like he wanted to fight. I asked him who he was, and he told me he was the Sea King's father. Whoa, I'm sorry about what happened to your son. I took off my helmet so we could talk face to face. He told me he had made this mountain dungeon when his son was little in order to test whether or not he could be a hero worthy of the legendary golem. Well, the Sea King had never been able to open the door. I had, which meant I was the worthy hero that the Sea King's father was hoping for. He revealed that there was no legendary golem, but he did give me the formula I could use to build it. I thanked him, and we waved goodbye to each other. On days 85 to 89, I told Becca about what had happened to me at the Silver Dungeon and how I met the Sea King's father.
Of course. course. Opening that door meant that you were worthy. That makes so much sense. Still, do you think you have what it takes to build the legendary golem?
I have to try, don't I?
I suppose that's true. I'll give you all the information I know about what the legendary golem is supposed to be like. That way, you can't get it wrong.
Thanks, Becca. On days 90 to 94, I scoured the land for all the materials that I would need to craft the legendary golem. Cobblestone walls, stairs, and blocks were easy. I already had those. But Quicksilver? I went deep in the mountains to find those and finally found a cave with some. Next, I needed to find some lapis lazuli ore, but for that, I'd need silk touch. I started asking around if any villagers knew where to get silk touch, and luckily found one who did. He threw a silk touch book at me, and I used it to enchant my pickaxe so I could mine entire ores of lapis. I then went back to the Sea Palace and snatched it from there. So far, there hadn't been anything too tough, but the block of ice dragon steel was going to be an issue. I went to Tuttle to ask him if he had any more left over, but he said no. Bummer. I asked him if there was any way he could find some more, and he said yes. Not a bummer, but it might take some time. Medium bummer. I was willing to wait though, since this could be the strongest golem ever made. Of course, I didn't want to neglect my own upgrades. With the help of the villagers, I was able to acquire some more enchanted books and give my frosted sword the powerful Freezing 3 enchantment. They told me that in order to use it, I would need to throw it and the frosted sword on top of the anvil, and the magic inside of the enchanted book would transform the sword into a better one. Well, here goes nothing. It worked. The sword leveled up to an iced dragonbone sword with sharpness 10. It even had the ability to completely freeze enemies. And best of all, it looked awesome! Now I had fire and ice on my side. On days 95 to 97, I took some time off from building the golem in order to finish the statue for the base. It was a statue of regular Alex because I wanted to show the villagers that even though I was distorted and an outcast, I was just the same as any other hero. I could feel that the villagers had already accepted me, but I hoped it was still a gesture that meant something to them. But what do you think of the statue? Do you like it? To end the day, I started building the golem. I was so close to being finished. All I was missing now was the block of ice dragon steel. On day 98, the shopkeeper's dog approached me and looked like he wanted to talk.
Hey Zozo, you always say you were an outcast. How come you helped me when we first met?
I guess I just needed a place to belong, and you seemed like you did too.
Well, you've made a really nice place here. I can't wait for the other villagers to come back.
Same. The golem is almost complete, and Crushmore will never know what hit him.
I think it'll hit him, just like all of our friends should hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell.
That's true. It sure does feel great that I can share more of my videos with all of my friends out there. Thanks for your support. On day 99, the turtle woke me up and gave me the block of ice dragon steel. Now I can finish the statue. The legendary golem that I built was finally complete. Even Becca was impressed. It was just like the legend. With the golem by my side, I marched over to Crushmore's redstone mines. We encountered several villagers, but the golem was able to keep them busy while I warped into the mines and freed the rest of the villagers. The most powerful of the villagers, an evoker, tried to stop me. He kept spawning Vex around me and using his Fang spell attack, but luckily, my superior armor protected me and I struck him down with my fire and ice weapons. The villagers were able to escape the redstone mine and run back to the base. That just left one more thing to take care of. Or should I say, Crushmore thing. On day 100, the golem and I started to destroy the redstone mines, and I focused on breaking up the rail tracks and supporting pillars. With all the villagers now home safe, I noticed that some of the redstone piles looked weird. They were shimmering green. I shot a fire arrow at them, and it ignited the redstone and blew the whole place up. That's firepower, baby! But the explosion was so huge that I was almost caught inside. I tried to warp away, and the most amazing thing happened. My warp ability absorbed the explosion and converted it into pure power. As I left the destroyed mine, I saw Crushmore battling the legendary golem.
You thought this hunk of junk could defeat Crushmore? I am more powerful than you could ever imagine!
Using the power of the explosions that my distorted warp had consumed, I grew in size until I was the same as him with 100 hearts. That's when the giant got even bigger and meaner. I didn't even know that was possible. He smashed the golem with a single blow and started coming after me.
Even legends are no match for Crushmore. Now, you will pay for ruining my plans for this world.
I don't think so, Crushmore. Anything you can destroy, I can build back. I am more than a legend. I'm a hero. We battled, but I was faster, and with my ability to shoot fire out of my flaming warp, Crushmore was toast. Literally. But the fight wasn't over yet. We kept battling. I used my warp, which was crazy long now, but Crushmore also had some serious strength and a huge jump height. Even if I tried to warp away to regenerate some health, he was right there with me. With the combination of Ice Sword, Fire Sword, Flaming Arrows, and the Flaming Warp did the trick. After that amazing battle, I fixed up the golem and he came back to life again. We returned to the village where Tuttle, Becca, the shopkeeper, his dog, and all the villagers were waiting for me. Even the Sea King's dad was there. He was happy to see that I was the hero the world needed. This calls for a fireworks display. I may still be able to turn invisible, but now there was no reason for me to hide anymore. On day 1, I spawned in as Godzilla. Haha, check me out. I am so tiny. Look, I only have 5 hearts. I was so surprised, I almost didn't notice a scientist sneaking up behind me.
I've got you now.
The scientist started throwing nets at me, barely missing. Whoa, who is this guy? I've got to get out of here. The scientist continued to chase me, throwing nets. Up ahead, I could see a small hole, so I hurried and jumped inside, landing in a small cave. He's too big to fit, so I should be safe in here. Just then, I heard a rattling sound, and there was a rattlesnake right there. Oh no! I jumped back out of the hole right next to the scientist.
There you are, you little lizard.
I ran off as he kept throwing his nets. I was running out of places to hide. That's when I had an idea. I hope you don't like getting wet, and I hope I know how to swim. I dove into the ocean and was happy to find that not only could I swim, but I could swim extremely fast. It looked like the scientist wasn't interested in diving in after me either.
I'll get you.
What a start to the day. Who was that guy? Why would he want me? Maybe he was just trying to capture all the animals. I decided to ask a nearby fish if he knew anything. As I was swimming, I realized I could breathe underwater too. Hey, did you see that guy back there? What's his deal? The fish didn't respond and started attacking me. It was a barracuda. Hey, stop it! I don't want to hurt you, but I will. The barracuda didn't say anything and kept attacking. I guess he didn't know how to talk. Well, let's see what these claws can do. I swiped him with my claws and saw that I packed a punch. It only took a few hits to take him down. I was strong enough to get out of that fight, but he was just a little fish. I don't know if my claws will help me out of something much bigger. I was feeling tired after such an eventful day, so I made my way back to the shore to look for a place to rest. Hopefully I wouldn't run into that scientist again, but just in case, I needed to start getting prepared to fight. On day 2, I woke up and crawled out from under the tree. Today's the day I get set to fight back. If I was going to survive, I needed a safe place to live. I didn't know where that scientist was operating from, so I didn't feel safe building a base on land. I decided my best bet was in the water. Before I can get to building, I need the tools to do it. I immediately got punching some trees so that I could get some wood. With the wood, I made a crafting table and fashioned a pickaxe. Then I mined out some stone and used the stone to make a set of stone tools: a pickaxe, axe, shovel, and sword. With my new tools, I started gathering the materials I would need. Building a base out in the water was going to be an interesting challenge, but I think the final build is going to look really cool. While I was gathering some supplies in the forest, I saw a boar off in the distance. I don't think that barracuda could talk, but maybe this boar could help me out. I made my way over to him. Hey buddy, have you seen a scientist roaming around? The boar took one look at me and charged. Oh come on, I was just trying to figure out what's going on. This guy was hitting pretty hard, and I took quite a bit of damage. It's a good thing I had made myself a sword. I'm sorry for bothering you, but now you're just being rude. I used my sword and took him down. Alright, looks like I'm the only talking animal out here. Let's get back to work. I managed to gather a bunch of other materials and even came across an old boat. There were a lot of materials to grab, so I got as much as I could so my vision could come to life. I headed into the water and found a good spot to build my base on the seafloor. Using the materials I had gathered, I built a platform and started putting everything I would need together. It was going to be hard for the scientist to find me down here. I was able to make some really good progress, but I'd need to go find some more materials tomorrow. On day 3, I needed to get some more supplies, so I headed over to a nearby mountain. I made my way up to the top of the mountain and saw some watermelon. I went ahead and harvested them when suddenly I heard a strange noise. Huh? Where did that come from? I'm not letting someone sneak up on me again. I looked from side to side but didn't see anything. Maybe it was just the wind? What's that? I looked around just in time to see a giant bird swoop down and pick me up. Hey, let me go! What's the big idea? She didn't seem like she was trying to hurt me, but where could she be taking me? After a moment, I could see something huge in the distance. It was a giant nest. Uh-oh, I must be food for her babies. Moments later, the bird dropped me into the nest, and luckily the babies hadn't hatched yet, but I could hear something moving inside of the eggs. I had to get out of here.
Hey, you!
Who was that? I turned and saw a little squirrel standing there. Hey, you could talk. I was starting to think I was the only animal here that could.
Yeah, I can talk, but you hear that? These eggs are starting to crack, and we gotta get out of here.
You're a squirrel. Can't you just climb out of here?
The nest is made of mud. I can't get a good grip. If you can dig us out with your claws, though, I have a good way to get us to the ground.
The eggs started making even more cracking sounds. We had to hurry. free. I started swinging my claws and managed to break through the walls of the nest. Oh man, that is a long way down. I hope you know what you're doing. The squirrel tossed me an umbrella. Suddenly, there was a big crack, and we heard some baby birds starting to tweet. Jump! The squirrel and I jumped off the nest and slowly floated down to the ground. Whew, that was a close call. I've been having a lot of those lately.
Don't tell me, did you run into that scientist too?
Yeah, what's that guy's problem?
He's been trying to round up all the talking animals. All I know is anyone he captures is never seen again. He must be experimenting on them, or something worse.
I could tell the squirrel must have lost some good friends to this scientist, but I didn't want to pressure her. Well, we can find a way to stop him. Come on, you can live in my base with me. We should be safe there. On days 4 to 5, the squirrel and I had made it to the beach closest to my base. That's when I realized she wasn't going to be able to live underwater with me, but I had an idea. By the way, what's your name?
My friends call me Sandy.
Sandy it is. Could you give me a hand collecting some sand? I know just the thing to build for you. Sandy and I spent some time gathering sand for me to use in the build. With all the sand collected, I loaded it into the furnace and started smelting it into glass. Just because she's a squirrel doesn't mean she can't live under the ocean. With the glass complete, I got to work on building her a house. My idea was to use the glass to create a dome on the seafloor that could then be filled with air for her to breathe. That way, she could live safely underwater, but still feel like she was living freely above ground. It was tricky working underwater, but in the end, I was able to get it to work. I think Sandy is going to love it. After telling Sandy I was done with her base, I hopped into the water and was suddenly attacked by a colossal squid.
Oh no, Zozo, let me help.
It's okay, I don't want you to get trapped underwater. I can take this guy. The squid was crazy strong. He hit hard, which was scary because I only had 5 hearts. I needed to do something, and fast. This is gonna hurt. I aimed for the squid's eye and landed a blow with my sword. That did the trick, and he was destroyed.
Nice going, Zozo. What's that?
I took a closer look and saw the giant squid had dropped something. This must have been trapped in his stomach. I went over and picked it up. Oh, awesome, it's a pile of sand. If I throw this at an enemy, it will cause them to have temporary blindness.
You know, this attack got me thinking. We need something to scare people and animals away from our base. I've got an idea, but I need to check some things first to see if it will work. Stay tuned.
On days 6 to 8, I was on the beach when I started feeling really hungry. Sheesh, it's been a while since I've had something to eat. I need to work on a food source. I decided that since my favorite food was meat, my best bet was to round up some different animals and keep them up on the shore. I set up a few different pens so I could keep all the animals I was going to collect in one place. With the pen set up, I made my way across the land and managed to find some sheep, some chickens, some pigs, and some cows. I led them all back towards the pen and got all of them locked up in their pens. As I was finishing up, I heard something in the distance. What's that sound? I looked towards the source of the sound. A couple of deer came running out of the trees.
You need to run! He's coming! He's coming!
You guys are talking animals. It must be the scientist. A moment later, I saw what was coming. It was the scientist. He was in a giant net firing machine. As the deer ran, he managed to capture them with a couple of leads. Oh no, I've got to help. I grabbed my pile of sand. Maybe this could help me. As I got closer to the scientist, he saw me.
You again. You're the one I want most of all.
He turned and started shooting at me. I tried throwing some sand at him as I made my way into the trees to try and throw him off.
Hey, where did you go?
The scientist drove through the trees looking for me, but couldn't see me hiding behind the tree. He seemed to be giving up.
Well, at least I can capture you two.
He was gonna leave with the deer. I had to stop him. I pulled out my pile of sand, then jumped next to the scientist. You didn't see this one coming. I threw the sand and got him right in the eyes.
Ah, what did you do? I can't see a thing.
The scientist kept trying to throw nets at me, but couldn't hit me. But in his rage, the deer had broken free. He was still too strong for me to fight, so I hurried and ran toward my base as the deer escaped into the forest. The scientist got way too close to my base. I better hide out for the night. On days 9 to 11, I returned back to my base to talk to Sandy. I told her everything that had happened with the scientist and that I had barely managed to escape.
It's okay, Zozo. We'll find a way to beat him and save everyone.
I don't know. I just feel like he's so much stronger than us, and he keeps making new upgraded weapons. Weapons we couldn't even beat in the first place.
If we don't have hope, what do we have? Giving up isn't going to solve the problem, so we have to keep fighting.
I suppose you're right. By the way, what was your idea for scaring enemies away from our base? That seems like just the thing we need right now.
Oh yeah, I just finished gathering everything I needed for the first part. Come give me a hand.
Sandy and I headed out and got to work. Sandy said she had spent the day getting supplies, and using those supplies, we'd be able to build a huge, terrifying statue. She wanted it to be a surprise though, so she didn't tell me what we were building, just where I needed to put the blocks. After a while, we had finished the first part. This is looking great, I think. Can you tell what it is? After a lot of building, building, Sandy and I were starting to feel pretty hungry, so Sandy suggested we build a farm. We got working on it right away. I collected the animals for a food source, but since Sandy was a squirrel, she didn't eat meat. By the time we had finished building, Sandy's hunger was getting dangerously low.
Hurry and plant the crops. I don't think I should risk moving too much. My hunger bar is getting really low.
Oh no, I only got enough plants to lure the animals into their pens. I'll go get some for you.
It's okay, but please hurry.
On days 12 to 13, I was exploring the land looking for seeds when I came across a small farm. A garden. This will have just what Sandy needs. But who lives here? Next to the garden was a small hut, so I went to knock on the door. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I just took a little bit of their crops. But to my surprise, the door opened and a scientist was standing in the door. Oh no, another scientist! I gotta get out of here! I turned to run when the scientist called out to me.
Whoa there, hang on, little fella. I'm not gonna hurt you.
I stopped running and turned cautiously toward her. How do I know you're not going to hurt me?
I guess you don't, but I can tell by your face that you really need these crops. Come on in and let's talk. I think I can actually be of more help than you think.
She was right. Sandy's hunger levels were too low for me to risk wasting time looking for another food source. I headed inside the hut. So you have something that can help me?
I do. Information. I think it's important that you understand who that scientist is. That way you can defeat him.
All right, I'm listening. Who is this guy?
The scientist used to be a coworker of mine. We spent years working on potions and inventions that would improve the lives of the animals around us. In our studies, we had discovered some animals possessed special abilities. Most of the time it was that they could talk, but every so often, one would come along that was capable of even greater power. One day, though, his wife disappeared, sending him into a spiral. He was on a path I couldn't follow, so I ran away. The scientist blamed the animals for what had happened to his wife, and he became obsessed with harvesting them and using their power to build a super weapon, one that would give him ultimate control over everyone. Any animals he extracts power from die in the process. He is powerful for sure, but one of the rare animals, one that possesses extraordinary abilities, can stop him. Zozo, you are one of those animals.
Me? I don't have any special abilities. I can hardly win any fights, and the last time I met up with the scientist, I barely made it out alive. There's no way you could be right about that.
I know it, Zozo, I do. You might not see it now, but I'm sure one day you will. I'm standing by and I'm ready to help how I can. Hang on to this radio and give me a call if you ever need help.
I picked up the radio, then she led me outside to the garden.
And here, you can take some peanuts from my garden.
I harvested some plants and peanuts, then left to head back to the base. Special powers? Maybe she knew something I didn't, but right now it just didn't make any sense. From days 14 to 15, I was making my way back to the base when I heard a familiar but terrifying sound above me. I looked up and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Oh no, it's that bird again, and this time it has some of its babies with it. I didn't want to be their breakfast before, and I didn't want to now. I still had a little bit of sand left over from my fight with the scientist. Maybe it could help me win here. Come and get it! The bird let out a screech, but I was ready. I took my pile of sand and threw it right in its eyes. The bird let out another yell and landed not too far away. Here, I've got some breakfast for you. I took my sword and quickly started to attack the bird. Since it was on the ground, it had no chance, and I was able to knock it out. That was one down, but I still had to deal with the kids. And now I was all out of sand. Come on down, kids, I've got some leftovers for you. The baby birds shrieked and dove down as well. They weren't nearly as strong or clever as the big bird, and so one by one, they flew straight into my swinging blade, taking them down for good. Flying is overrated. Swimming is the way to go. Suddenly, I felt energy beginning to course through my veins, and I evolved into a bigger Godzilla. Check it out, I even have 10 hearts. I was feeling much stronger than before, and found out that my roar could hurt enemies. My tail had become a weapon of its own too. On days 16 through 19, I made it back to the base, and was grateful to see that Sandy was still alive. I gave her something to eat, and then headed into the farm to plant the seeds, so she'd have a renewable source of food as well. Just as I was finishing up, Sandy came running into the room.
Zozo, come quick. I need your help.
Sandy led me to another part of the base, where she had started mining down into the earth.
While you were planting the farm, I went ahead and started working on a mine. I had mined into a cave system where there was some iron, but something attacked me. I didn't get a good look at what it was, but I was wondering if you could go check it out.
Sure thing, Sandy. I'll see what I can find. I headed down into the tunnel and soon emerged in the cave. I could see the iron Sandy had mentioned and walked over to it. Just then, a group of drowned attacked. Oof, these guys. This is a good chance to put my new abilities to the test. I quickly swung my tail and knocked them away from me. With them backed off, I then hit them with my roar attack, which hurt them from afar. Oh, sorry, were you guys going somewhere? I then hopped in with my sword and started slashing away. I continued to use my new abilities in combination with my sword and was able to defeat them in no time. Well, with those guys out of the way, I might as well grab this iron. I then took out my pick and mined out all the iron I could find. With all the iron collected, I made my way back up to the base, where I smelted down all of the iron and then used it to make a full set of iron armor and tools. On days 20 to 22, I was woken up by the sound of a crackle on my radio. I tuned the frequency to get a clearer sound.
Zozo, do you copy? Zozo, do you read me?
Hey, yes, I'm here. What's going on?
The mad scientist is heading your way. You're in danger.
Oh, no, it's okay. My whole base is underwater. He's not going to be able to reach me here.
You don't understand. He built a mech suit that will let him access your base. You need to get out of there, now.
I hurried out of my base and swam up to the surface. I couldn't risk him getting into the base and hurting Sandy. I made my way to the beach. Maybe I could cut him off here. Just then, I saw the scientist approaching. The old woman was right. He was in an aquatic mech suit. I'm stronger now. I think I can take him. Soon, the scientist was before me.
Oh, someone's been eating their veggies. You're even more valuable to me now.
This has to stop. You're killing innocent animals.
Oh, boo-hoo. You don't even know what you are. You have a power inside of you just waiting to burst out, and I'm gonna get it.
The scientist revved his suit and fired a laser at me. I ran into the water to get some space between us. Before he could get me again, though, I let out a roar, which hurt him. I jumped closer and hit him with my tail, which seemed to put a dent in his machine. He didn't stay scared for long, though, and kept fighting back.
What is this power? Ooh, you're even stronger than you look.
He kept firing his laser beam at me, which really hurt. I had more health and armor than before, but I was taking some serious damage.
You can't win, Zozo. You're mine.
I rose up and swung with all my might, which caused his suit to start smoking. I swung again and again. I was winning.
Whoa, where's the strength coming from? I can't lose.
Before I could deliver the final blow, the scientist hit a button, ejecting him from his suit and launching him into the air.
This isn't over.
The scientist was gone for now, but if there was one thing I did learn, it's that the scientist isn't invincible. Next time we meet up, I'll be ready. On days 23 to 25, Sandy came and found me in my room. She suggested that we go search the wreckage of the scientist's machine. Maybe we'd find something. We headed up to the surface and took a look at where the scientist's machine had been destroyed. It looked like there was something in the wreckage. What's this? I picked it up and saw it was a stack of javelins. Oh, interesting. This will give me the chance to do some ranged attacks. I kept looking and saw that there was a notebook as well. I wonder what's inside. I picked it up and opened it up. If you were liking this video so far, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what adventure you think we should go on next. I don't know what that means. On days 26 to 29, Sandy and I headed back to the base to get some work done on the statue. I was pretty exhausted from the fight, so we thought this would be a good activity to take our minds off the conflict. It was coming along pretty well, I think. Can you tell what it is yet? We stopped working as Sandy explained to me that we were going to need some amber blocks and warped stems to get more work done. She suggested I head to a nearby island, as she heard I might be able to find some there. I'm on it. I leapt into the water and started swimming off in the direction Sandy had mentioned. In my bigger form, swimming was much faster than before. As I approached the island, I noticed something was already here. I reached the shore and saw it was infested with green snakes. If you guys don't mind, I'm just gonna squeeze by and grab what I need. Thanks. I made my way over to the blocks I needed and started mining them out. I was able to grab a bunch of them when I was suddenly attacked by the snakes. Guys, I just needed a little bit. These guys weren't talkers though, and they started fighting and snapping at me with their fangs. Hey, that hurts, knock it off. I smacked some of them away and then used some of the new javelins I had just gotten to keep them at a distance. By this combo, I managed to take them all out. Alrighty, back to business. I had gotten all of the blocks I needed, so I jumped back into the water to head home. On days 30 to 35, I was heading back to my base when I was suddenly attacked by a shark. Whoa, get out of here, you man-eater. The shark had a powerful bite, and it was doing a lot of damage, but he didn't know who he was messing with. Let's see how you like this. As the shark lined up to charge me, I pulled out my javelins and speared him. Turns out he didn't like it at all. He was hurt, but lined up to charge at me again. Suddenly, he turned and swam off in the other direction. Yeah, that's what I thought. You better run. I turned to keep swimming, but saw what made the shark swim off. There was a huge whale right behind me. Oh boy, please don't eat me.
Eat you? You don't look very good to eat.
Oh, you talk. In that case, nice to meet you.
Likewise. Say, I've been watching you fight. You're one brave guy. Do you think you could help me? This evil scientist captured my baby, and I need someone to rescue her.
Oh yeah, I'm well acquainted with this scientist. Do you know where she's being held? I'll do anything to stop that guy.
There's a holding pen not too far from here. I would go there myself, but my lack of arms stopped me from breaking through anything. It's actually pretty inconvenient.
Don't you worry. I'll get there as fast as I can. On days 36 to 40, I made my way to the holding pen. After a bit of swimming, I could see the enclosure. This must be it. I snuck in a little closer and could see that the holding pen was attached to what looked like a small base. There were several guards on the outside. Well, I'd like to avoid confronting them directly if possible. Let me see if I can get in contact with the baby whale. I hopped back into the water and swam over to the pen. I could see the baby whale inside. Hey there, little one. Your dad sent me to rescue you.
I'm so happy to see you. I don't know how much time I have. There used to be a lot more animals in here with me, but one by one, they were taken away and haven't come back. We're the only ones left.
Okay, hang on for as long as you can. I noticed there were a lot of guards out there, and I don't want to risk fighting all of them. Do you know if there's another way in?
I think there might be a water duct you can break into that leads into the enclosure. If you dig into the side of the hill on the east side of the base, you should hit it. Or was it the north side? I can't remember.
It's okay. I'm sure I can figure it out. I'll start digging and I'll see you soon. From days 41 to 43, I worked on digging my tunnel through the base. I feel like this is going great. I've got to be getting close. I think she was saying I need to start digging up right about now. I changed direction and started heading up. This was kind of a nice change to not be attacked head on. I felt like a proper secret agent. Suddenly, I burst through the surface and saw I was right in the middle of their base. Uh-oh, looks like I'm not a very good secret agent. I jumped out of the hole and the guards swarmed in and started to attack. There were more guys in here than I thought. They had caught me off guard and were really starting to take down my health. Oh, there's so many of them. But I still had my special moves. I let out a roar and was able to hurt some of the bad guys. I quickly started swinging my tail and hitting back. One by one, I was starting to take them out. There were so many of them, but I was a one monster wrecking machine. Maybe I do make a better action star than secret agent. Eventually, I was able to gain the upper hand and the entire base was clear. In one of the rooms, I saw a control panel with a couple of switches on it. I went ahead and flipped them. This must be controlling the gate. All right, let's go save those animals. I made my way out of the main base and headed toward the holding tank. I went around to the exit to make sure the whale got out safely. Go on and be free, my friend. Just then, the big whale dad from before came swimming up as his daughter swam over to him.
Thank you, Zozo. I was afraid I would never see my daughter again. If you are ever in need of help, I will do everything I can to be there for you.
On days 44 to 49, I had arrived back at my base. I had nearly forgotten I had collected materials for my statue, so Sandy and I had gotten right to work building the next part. I think I'm starting to see what it's supposed to be. What about you? Next, I got to work building some guard towers above my base. If my run-ins with the scientists thus far had taught me anything, it was that I needed to be prepared for any kind of attack. Once the towers were complete, I decided to give them a test. That night, I lured some mobs into the area and led them right into my trap. The defenses worked perfectly. The scientist is going to be in for a nasty surprise if he tries to break in here. On days 50 to 53, I woke up to the sound of a crackle on the radio. It was another warning call that the scientist was coming. Again, good thing we laid those traps. He's not going to be able to get in this time. I swam to the top of the base to get a better look and saw it wasn't just the scientist attacking this time. He was standing in a helicopter with a squadron of robot sharks in the water.
I might not be able to swim in, but my elite shark squad can. Alpha team, attack!
The sharks immediately jumped into action. They were headed right for the base. I braced myself for a fight. The first few sharks got caught in the crossfire of my guard towers, which quickly took them out. Nice, those worked perfectly. The next few sharks were much luckier though, and I was going to have to take them on myself. The sharks were putting up a good fight, but they were no match for my claws and sword. I also used my roar and spin attack, cutting through them bit by bit. With all of my attacks, I was able to rip through them and quickly took them out. Ha! This guy must be running out of ideas. Suddenly, I heard an explosion and saw some other robot sharks had blown a hole in Sandy's dome. A shark swam in, tied her up, and pulled her away.
Zozo, help!
They were taking Sandy. In my anger, my blood started to boil, and I could feel a rush of energy. Suddenly, I grew in size and leveled up. The scientist had gotten his hands on the rope and pulled Sandy into the helicopter. I started making my way toward them, but the scientist took out a rocket launcher, blowing up one of the towers.
Say goodbye to your little friend.
The scientist fired up his engine and flew off with Sandy. I was so mad. There were a couple of robot sharks nearby, and in my rage, I opened my mouth and shot out a stream of fire. This must be one of my new abilities. The fire destroyed them almost immediately. I've got to get Sandy back. On days 54 to 57, I was in the depths of despair. First things first though, I started to make repairs to the base. I couldn't believe I didn't protect Sandy from the scientist. She trusted me and I let her down, and I had no idea where the scientist's main base was. Then I had an idea. I headed over to the radio. Hey, are you there? Sandy was captured by the scientist, and I really need your help.
Zozo, I was just about to contact you. We have something to discuss, but I think it's best done in person.
I'll be there soon. I departed my base and headed to the old woman's house. When I arrived, she was waiting for me outside.
Zozo, thank you for coming.
Of course, what's going on?
I lied to you earlier. The scientist's wife, she didn't die. I'm his wife.
What? Why didn't you say so before?
I was afraid the truth would be too much for you and make you refuse to work with me.
So why are you telling me now? How can I know anything you've told me is true?
Everything else I have told you is true, but there is more to the story. My husband was a brilliant man, but we were under pressure to deliver our findings by a corrupt mayor of the nearby city. We were his prisoners, and the experience turned my husband to madness. I believe there is still good in him.
So what are you suggesting?
I know you must hate him, but please don't hurt him. I think he can come back to the light.
No promises, but I'll see what I can do. Rescuing Sandy is my #1 priority. She thanked me and told me the location to the scientist's base. It wasn't going to be easy to infiltrate, so I needed to head back to my base to prepare. On days 58 to 62, I returned back to my base and headed into the mine. I was still using subpar gear and was hoping to find some diamonds. I was still sad about Sandy being gone, but I needed to stay focused. After a bit of exploring, I soon saw diamonds. Just what I was looking for. I mined all of the diamonds I needed, but as I went further into the cave, there was some lava blocking my path. Just then, I heard a roar behind me and saw a black bear had me cornered, but I wasn't worried. Impressive, but I can roar too. I opened my mouth and fired my fire breath at him. He didn't like that at all and attacked. I can go claw to claw with you, no problem. The bear swiped at me as I fought back. He was strong, but he didn't know what he was getting himself into. We exchanged blows as I shot him with my fire breath. After a bit, I took him out with ease. With my pockets full of diamonds, I headed back up into the base and got to work crafting. In no time, I had crafted myself a full set of diamond armor and equipped it. I'd like to see anyone try and pierce this armor. On days 63 to 66, I got back to work on the statue. Sandy wasn't around to tell me what we were building, but I felt like I had a good idea of where we were going with it. I would have loved to finish it, but it didn't feel right to do it without Sandy, so I decided to wait a little bit longer so we could finish it together. I'm all ready to go, but before I do, I'm told there's a red sub button you can press. The more subs we have in our navy, the stronger we'll be. On days 67 to 70, I left my base and traveled across the land toward the scientists' headquarters. After a while, I saw some buildings beginning to appear on the horizon. That must be it. I had no idea there was such a large city nearby. As I got closer to the base, I saw it was well protected, with guards positioned all over the outside of the base. It didn't matter though. I was angry, and no one was going to keep me out. Sandy, I'm coming for ya! I ran up to the guards and started to attack, as the guards took aim and started to fire. These guys were elite troops, and I could feel the strength of their shots, but so far, my armor was holding up. Where's the scientist? The guards didn't seem interested in my questions and kept attacking. I was making my way through the guards, using every attack in my arsenal. The place was starting to catch fire, but soon enough, I cleared out all of the guards. Time to get in there and see what's going on. On days 71 to 74, I entered further into the base, attacking more guards along the way. There were a bunch of them stationed in the lobby, but as much as they tried to take me down, they stood no chance against my flurry of attacks. Once they were all destroyed, I entered the next room, which was full of animals in cages. Don't worry guys, I'll get you out. I quickly attacked all of the guards in the room. They really didn't seem to appreciate my fire breath. Soon enough, I had taken them all out. I then headed over to the wall and pressed a button, which released them all from their cages. Be free, my friends. Just then, I saw a bear had started attacking another animal. That's when I noticed he was a robot bear. Oh no! I quickly ran over and started fighting him, taking him out as quick as I could. But there were some robot ducks that had started attacking me too. How could the scientists do this to the animals? I managed to fight them all off too. I've got to find Sandy, and quick! I headed into another room and saw a few more animals in cages. I was careful to check and be sure they weren't robots before breaking them out. I took out some more guards and then saw a strange object floating over a block. What could this be? I stepped closer and picked it up. It was a new whirlwind attack. Oh cool, I can't wait to test this out. Just then, another group of robot animals appeared, and I was shocked by who was leading them. Sandy, what have they done to you? The group of animals attacked, including Sandy. It was no use. It wasn't the Sandy I knew and loved. She had been experimented on and turned into a robot. I focused on fighting off the other animals, but I couldn't bring myself to fight Sandy. I was able to take a few of them out, but what was I gonna do about Sandy? Sandy, it's me! I was so distracted trying to run away, I didn't notice that more guards had come into the room. They immediately started to attack me. This was a fight I couldn't win. They cornered me against a wall and then shot me with a tranquilizer dart, putting me to sleep. On day 75 to 78, I woke up in a cage. I've got to get out of here. I looked for my pickaxe, but they must have taken it from me. There was no way for me to break myself out.
Going somewhere? I made this cage especially for you. You'll never be able to break out.
You can do whatever you want. Just let Sandy go. As I said this, I noticed that Sandy turned and looked at me.
Ooh, do you feel sad for your friend? Boo-hoo. I'll tell you what, maybe I won't destroy you. Maybe I'll just turn you into a robot, just like her. Then you can play with your little friend all day.
You're gonna pay for this. It doesn't matter what you do. Good always triumphs over evil. As I said this, Sandy started to shake and her circuit started to make a crackling noise.
Zozo.
The scientist turned and looked at her.
What? She's overpowering the mind control.
Suddenly, Sandy ran over to the cage release and hit the button, freeing me from my cage. You're in for it now.
Oh no!
The scientist ran out of the room. Before I chased after him though, I took a look at Sandy.
Go, Zozo. The mind control is taking back over. I don't want to fight.
Without wasting another moment, I took off after the scientist. He hadn't gotten very far, as he had just run into the other room. But that's because he managed to get himself into a fancy mech suit.
Enough games. I'm going to end this now.
The scientist attacked. His weapon was way stronger than I was expecting, but I was way stronger than even he knew. I hit him with everything I had. I used my weapons, swung my tail, and shot him with my fire breath.
So much strength! You would make me invincible!
The scientist fought right back, using every method he could to make sure I really felt it. He fired his weapons and was able to move quickly around the room. At one point, I was down to just a few hearts.
Time to say goodbye!
Just then, I noticed he was standing next to some TNT. Goodbye. I shot my fire breath and hit the TNT, which knocked him out of his suit. He slumped down against the wall.
No, I must complete my mission.
Just then, I noticed a control panel on the other side of the room, labeled Mind Control. This can free Sandy. I hurried over to the switch and flipped it. To my surprise, I heard a crackling sound and saw it was coming from the scientist. He had been under mind control.
Zozo, thank you. I'm so sorry.
Who did this to you?
It was the mayor. He told me he would destroy my wife if I didn't keep working for him. I refused, but he did this to me and forced me to comply. I'm just glad she got away.
It's not too late. I can get you a health potion or something.
No, it is too late for me. I'm allergic to potions. I know, it's really inconvenient. Tell my wife I'm sorry.
He put his head down and was gone. I'll tell her. I'm sorry things couldn't have been different. I'll find the evil mayor and make things right. On day 79 to 84, I headed back to the other room to find Sandy. I was on my way back when she found me.
Zozo, my mind has been free. You must have defeated the scientist.
I explained to Sandy everything that had happened, including that the scientist wasn't really the bad guy. It was the mayor this whole time.
Oh no. Well, let's take a look around here. The scientist was working on a weapon. We better find it and destroy it.
Sandy and I took off, taking a look around the base. I noticed that the base was empty now. The guards must have been under mind control too. As we walked into one of the rooms, we saw a strange glowing object floating on a platform. Sandy picked it up and set it down in front of me so I could take a closer look too. It doesn't look like a weapon, but it definitely looks like something powerful. What do you think, Sandy? But before Sandy can answer, a man in a suit came strolling into the room, stopping in front of the glowing object. This had to be the mayor.
Yeah, you two certainly tried, but I'm sorry to tell you, you failed. That nerd had pretty much finished the weapon, and there's nothing you losers can do about it. The people of this city tried to kick me out of my job, but I'll show them who the top dog is.
The mayor picked up the glowing weapon. There was a blinding light, and as the light faded, we could see he had turned into a Mecha-Godzilla. He was as big as a building.
Ha ha ha, good luck stopping me now.
The mayor turned and headed toward the city, breaking everything in his path. Suddenly, he began shooting lasers out of his eyes as he smashed the buildings.
This is what happens to those who dare oppose me. You citizens can cower in your buildings all you want. I will find you and I will destroy this entire city.
Come on, Sandy, let's get out of here. He's way too strong. He'll crush us. On days 85 to 89, Sandy and I arrived back at our base. It was good to have her back home, but I was still feeling like a failure. I feel like I can't do anything right. I couldn't save the scientist, and the mayor got his hands on the weapon. Now thousands of people are going to die.
You can't be so hard on yourself, Zozo. The fight isn't over. It's not much, but they should help. I stole them from the lab.
Sandy tossed out a few bars of netherite. Thanks, Sandy. I can max out my gear with this. And you know what? Now that you're back, we should finish our statue. It only feels right. I made a quick stop at an anvil and used it to upgrade all my gear to netherite. It made me feel a little bit better knowing I would be fully protected. I then met Sandy out at the statue and we got to work finishing it up. Doing so was helping me come out of my slump. I still didn't know how we could defeat the mayor, but my confidence was increasing. There was just one more thing I had to do. But before moving to that, we finished the statue. So what do you think? Did you guess what it was? No sailor's gonna feel safe coming near our base with this. Next up, I headed off to the old woman's house. Unfortunately, I only had the bad news of her husband's death to share with her. She greeted me outside.
I can tell by your face you have bad news for me. It's okay. I'm sure you did your best.
I think it's important that you know the truth. Your husband was forced to do all this work after being put under mind control by the mayor. In his final moments, he was himself and wanted me to tell you he was sorry. I could see that there were tears in her eyes.
Thank you for coming and telling me. I should have known that mayor was behind everything.
I explained to her the situation and how the mayor was currently on a rampage in the city. The mention of that seemed to shock her.
He used it? While you have been gone, I've been researching why my husband was so focused on capturing you. I couldn't quite figure it out, but I'm positive that the weapon wouldn't have been safe for someone to use without your power added to it.
Well, it certainly seemed to work just fine, regardless of any power I have. He seems to be pretty strong himself. Just then, she perked up with an idea.
You know, if there's one thing I knew about my husband, it's that he was incredibly thorough in his work. He never completed a project without having a backup.
But Sandy and I searched all over the base and didn't see anything like what we found.
Is there another lab somewhere out there?
Just then, I remembered the other pen where the baby whale was being kept. There could be something there. On days 90 to 94, I arrived back at the pen where the baby whale had been kept captive. The base was completely empty now, except that it had been overrun by charged creepers. Oh, stay away from me! I managed to fight through the mobs and make my way into the base. Inside the base, there were some skeletons, and they started firing their bows at me. Get your airheads out of here. I managed to hit them with fire breath and fight through them. As I searched the base, I had to keep fighting my way through the mobs. After I had destroyed them, I noticed there was a switch hiding behind one of the columns. What does this do? I flipped the switch, and a secret door opened up. I got closer to see what was hanging on the wall. There it is, a backup of the weapon. I stepped forward and picked it up, taking special care not to activate it. I better hurry and get this back to my base. On days 95 to 96, I returned back to my base and met up with Sandy. Sandy, I found the backup of the weapon. What do you think we should do with it?
Oh wow, nice work. I think it's clear, don't you?
I agree. You should take it. You'll be the biggest squirrel the world has ever seen.
Well, I'm sure everyone would want to see that. You know it has to be you. Everything you have done has led you to this moment. You were made to save the city.
Well, I can certainly try my best. I wish we knew more about this, though. So many animals had to die for this to be made.
And so many more animals and people will die if the mayor isn't stopped. They'd want their sacrifice to be for someone who would save others, not hurt them.
I nodded. Sandy always knew just what to say.
And here, I managed to catch something that will help you.
Sandy tossed out several enchanted books. These will be perfect. Thanks, Sandy. I grabbed the books and headed over to the anvil. By using all of the books, I was able to give my weapons and armor some impressive upgrades. I couldn't have been more powered up. It's time to end this. On days 97 to 98, Sandy and I swam back up to the shore near our base. This is it, the final battle. If I don't win here, that's it for me. If you've been enjoying the journey so far, let me know by giving me a like and a sub. I promise to always fight my hardest to win. With that said, Sandy and I headed in the direction of the city. The mayor wasn't going to see this coming. On day 99, we ran up to the outskirts of the city. In the distance, we could see the mayor standing amongst the buildings. So much destruction. I can see now that the mayor has lost control of his own mind. Seeing him like that scared me. Is that going to happen to me too?
Do you remember what happened when you were fighting the scientist? The power of our friendship pulled me out of the mind control. This is the same tech. I won't let anything happen to you.
I trust you, Sandy. Let's finish what we started. I moved into the city and got as close as I could get to the mayor without putting myself in danger. Hey, mayor! Why don't you pick on someone your own size? The mayor turned to look at me. I pulled out the secret weapon and activated it. There was a flash of light and I started to grow. It felt strange, but I could feel the power coursing through me. I couldn't help but feel like this was part of my destiny all along.
How is this possible? That scientist, he betrayed me.
I waited for the madness to take over, but nothing happened. Just then, it clicked. The scientist needed my power to stabilize the mind of the weapon's user, but since I was the user, all it did was power me up. Your reign of terror is over. The people of this city deserve better. The mayor and I charged at each other, exchanging blows. The mayor was strong, but with my new power, I had never felt better.
You think this makes you special? You can't save anyone. You couldn't save the scientist, let alone an entire city.
His words hurt, but I knew the scientist would have wanted me to stop this mayor. If not for you, no one would have needed to be saved. No one would have ever gotten hurt. The scientist saw you for who you really were, a fraud. This made the mayor even more mad, and he unleashed a flurry of attacks, which nearly took down all of my health. I had to finish this. I took one big final breath and unleashed the most powerful fire blast I had ever created.
No!
The mayor crumbled to the ground and disappeared. I rushed back over to Sandy.
Zozo, you did it. Let's go home.
On day 100, we returned back to the base. I was too big to fit in the base, but Sandy said she was going to keep living there anyway. I had gotten used to living in the water, so I swam back down into the sea. If the people of the city ever needed me again, they'd know just where to find me.